for us to come home in front of our family, fans, Raider Nation, the Black Hole.
Raiders! Goddamn right.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of New Year's Eve Special, Just Raiders, baby. I'm your host, I'm Jay Raider, and Happy New Year to everyone watching. Happy New Year, Raider Nation, and thank you guys so much for joining me on this podcast on this New Year's Eve, and we're doing the 2024 Raiders Year in Review, but before I get into that, again, thank you guys so much for joining me on this very special night. As always, if you guys are new to the show, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I am on the journey to get to 100 subscribers, so make sure you guys wipe your feet, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. I do shows like this sometimes, so we do it spur of the moment. So make sure you guys tap in, stay up to date with all the shorts, all the episodes that I'll be dropping, all the podcasts that I'll be joining. Sometimes I'll go ahead and do a guest show. Just did a guest show with my boy Rundown. And then tomorrow we got the Raider Connection with Cheetah Linus, LV Raider 10, Jeff New England Booster, and myself. And we're breaking down the last game of the year. The nightmare is almost over, guys. Raiders versus Chargers. So, but yes, as always, make sure you guys give me a follow on my socials: Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and X, JRaider_505. That's JRaider_505. And really quick before I get into that, salute to everybody who's starting their New Year's off early and right. Salute to you guys. Happy New Year. Really quick, want to give a shout out to the chat. Make sure you guys hit that chat, make it hot, because chat lives do matter. Salute to Ducky the Butcher. Appreciate you. Happy New Year. My boy Billy Davis, thank you for jumping on, brother. Happy New Year to you too. Hopefully better things come in 2025. Literally a couple hours away for some people. Few hours away for others, depending where you're at. If you're on the West Coast, you got about 5 more hours to go. If you're on the East, 2 more hours to go. So shout out to all my people in the East Coast, to my Jersey family. If you guys are watching, Happy New Year, guys. And I hope you guys stay safe, especially my brother-in-law. My boy likes to party, so make sure you stay safe, brother. But yes, sir. Let's go ahead and get this thing popping. I'm doing the 2024 Raiders Year in Review. You guys are probably saying like, well, what's there to review? We kind of know the score already. Well, still got to cover it, right? There's some things there's some positives that can go ahead and take away from the season. It's just not all negative. So we'll cover that. We'll see kind of what went wrong in the season. So we'll go ahead and tap into that. But yes, shout out to my guy, Jeff New England Boosters. Thank you, brother, for joining the show. Appreciate you. But let me go ahead and kick this thing off. Again, this is the Raiders Year in Review. And I'll start off with week 1 versus the Chargers. And that was a loss. That was a 22-10 loss in LA. And I don't know if y'all remember that game because it was so long ago. But we actually started off that game good, believe it or not. I know that we ended up losing by 12, but we actually started off that game pretty good. And then we actually somewhere in the middle, we ended up sinking. That game, Gardner Minshew had 2 fumbles. And well, there was two fumbles in the game. One was Minshew, one was Zamir White, and Minshew threw a pick for that game. I thought that was going to be a more competitive game. I thought we were actually going to be able to go ahead and beat the Chargers, but costly turnovers really hurt us in that game. But definitely a game that we could have went out, especially with all of our team was healthy at that point. That was game one. The only one that really was hurt was Malcolm Kuntz. He was on IR before the season started. So we just didn't have Kuntz. Everybody else was healthy. So, but we didn't get to pull it out. So that was our first loss of the season. Obviously, we always want to go ahead and go out there and start off the season on the right foot. We failed to do that. But then we had week two. We had an opportunity to go ahead and bounce back, and a lot of us probably thought, "Hey, you know what? These guys are not gonna fucking pull it out. This is too good of a team. They're an AFC contender." And I was on the same thought train as well. But week two was versus the Ravens, and we actually pulled out a win on that game. Uh, we're really notorious for winning the games we're not supposed to win, right? And we lose the games that we're supposed to win, except for last week. But we'll get to that. But we actually went in and won this game. We fucked around and won it. 26-23. Raiders picked Lamar. We had a touchdown by Madison, but it was mostly field goal city. Bowers came alive. He had 7 receptions. We got a touchdown by Devontae, and then Carlson wins it in almost spectacular fashion. Obviously, we had the wall ending at the end with Lamar, with that long run, and then you had a little bit of pickle going on, and I got nervous at the end, but Raiders held on for that win, and a lot of people didn't think that was going to happen, and sure enough, we went into that season. We started off the season 1-1, right? In retrospect, now being 4-12, you're like, what the fuck? Like, we really were 1-1 at that point. We were, but we started looking forward towards the next game, right? And having an opponent who was 0-2, who literally got blasted by a New Orleans team, right? I think it was like 40-7 or something like that. We felt pretty good going into that game. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us felt really confident that the Raiders were going to go ahead and pull it out. I know I did. And that was a big game because that was the first home game of the season, right? So I don't know if y'all remember, AP called to go ahead and have us, the nation, show up, right? And fuck yeah, we did. We showed up. We blacked out the stadium. It was probably like 80-20 Raiders or more. But we showed up. Unfortunately, our team did not, right? And with that game, we suffered our second loss, and we basically got almost blown out by Panthers, 36-22 in Vegas. Dramatic fashion, right? The Panthers pull out their starting quarterback, Bryce Young, and put in Andy Dalton, the Raider killer, in, right? I honestly thought that was just plain old bullshit. I didn't think that was a real thing. But then next thing you know, Dalton comes in and balls out. Raiders decided not to show up in the game. Maxx was hurt. If you guys remember, he got hurt in that Baltimore game. He got his ankle rolled on, and that's where the big boot cast came in, and he played injured, and that defense looked flat from the start. Offense didn't look any better. Really couldn't get anything going. And we saw the first appearance of AOC. He got some garbage time in that game, and he actually got a touchdown. He hit Trey Tucker for the touchdown. So a very disappointing game. To be honest with you, we all thought we can go 2-1. I know I did. Um, I thought that was a pivotal game where we can actually start, making a run for it. Obviously, 1-1, we're still in good shape. But with this loss and the way that the team performed, it really, I think it shook a lot of us to our core, right? Um, Raiders not playing, you know, the way they should. And We started kind of looking at things a little bit differently at that point, right? Um, Devontae got injured in that game, I believe, and he was out after that. So, that was kind of the beginning of some shit to come, as you say, right? But um, obviously, there still was more games to go. We had our very next game still at home, a chance to bounce back, and we did versus the Browns. We end up beating Watson and the Browns 30. I'm sorry, 30. Sorry, this will be 20-16 in Vegas, and that was actually one in dramatic fashion. You had Charles Snowden, a guy literally that comes in off the practice squad and saves the day, right? Um, Offense, you know, put things together, and they were able to go ahead and score 20 and held the Browns to 16 points. And next thing you know, we're back in business. We're 2-2 for the season. Uh, Looking at it, I mean, 2-2, and our season is not looking that bad, right? But as we knew, there was a little darkness looming on the horizon, and I think y'all know uh, what happens next, right? The Tay Adams drama begins, and that, if you guys know, started by that AP post, right? AP liked that post back, I don't know, what, September something or other. And he unliked it, right? I think it was like a Illustrated post saying Raiders should trade Devontae, or they're in talks to trade Devontae or something along those lines. And AP liked it. Inadvertently, I don't know, right? The question still remains, and we never knew really whether that was real or not. Whether or not that was intentional or not, I should say. But either way, that happened, and that started a whole ball of shit. After that, it was just this whole Trey Adams get traded saga really, really, really took off, right? He had said weeks and months before that he wasn't looking to get traded. He was happy where he was at. I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was very much spoken. And now you're having all this stuff come out where he really is unhappy, and he's really open to the idea of getting traded. And then next thing you know, you got the whole Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams connection going on. So all that was a big distraction for the team. I don't think you can deny it not being a distraction, right? With it being just so heavily talked out in the media, being in almost every post in social media across all platforms. It just, you're seeing Devontae Adams Raiders, Devontae Adams Raiders. So obviously that took effect, and it also played out in the field, right? But you guys let me know your thoughts on all this. Let me know. I know I'm bringing up some old stuff and some old feelings here, but It's good to talk about this. It's good to let the demons go right before we enter the new year. We want to let go of all the bad juju, bring in all the good juju, especially going into this off season because there is so much stuff literally looming in the horizon. We got free agency, we got the draft. We're going to be looking for an offensive coordinator really, really soon, and it's still up in the air whether or not AP is still going to be our head coach or not. So that's interesting to say. So obviously, we want to make sure that our Raiders, have the best success for 2025. But again, if you guys are out there celebrating, salute to you guys. Hope you guys are having fun. But yeah, you guys let me know in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. I am gonna be checking in on you guys, so don't think I haven't forgotten about you guys. But as always, we get the next game, week 5 versus the Broncos, and I went to that game. And I felt good going into that game with the record that we've had versus the Broncos year over year for the last like 5 years. And I felt pretty confident that we were going to win that game. I that was my second year going to that game. Went in the year before that and we won, and I thought it was going to repeat of that. Unfortunately, I was very, very wrong. But that game was just a shit show from Gardner Minshew, and we started off decent up until the point where he got that pick six by Sertan, and after that, everything just fell to shit. And me and my best friend, if he's watching, I know he knows about that, but we had to do the walk of shame out of that damn building, and it's something that I won't forget. But yeah, that was a pretty bad loss. Losing to the Donkeys always hurts. Losing to any division rival always hurts, but that happened, and we really saw Gardner Minshew at one of his lowest points, but we saw probably the beginning of the end of the Gardner Minshew era. So fast that it started, it was so fast that it ended, right? But we had another game that we can go ahead and look forward to. We had another home game in Vegas. And we had the Steelers coming up, and they were always a tough opponent, but it was always a toss-up. But unfortunately, we did not fare well in that game. And that was a 32 to 16 loss to Fields in Vegas. And we finally got to know that Fields was never the problem. It was Getsy. We started seeing that already with us kind of not putting a good offense together during games, getting a lot of stalled offense. And, when we had Justin Fields come in and smoke us, was pretty self evident. But AOC actually started that game. We started fast and then we stalled. We really couldn't stop that Steeler run game, and it showed. And obviously, putting up 32 points against us, was basically a byproduct of that. And at that point we're 2-4. And we didn't know where we're at. We had the whole Devontae Adams saga going on, as I like to dub it, right? But we had a real good opportunity to get an easy win because we had the Rams as our next opponent going back to LA. And the Rams at that point were not doing good at all. I think they were 0-3, right? And a very easy win. They had a lot of injuries. Should have been a layup for us, right? But unfortunately, that was not the case. That was not the outcome. That week 7 loss was a 20-15 loss in LA. And I think that was a very significant um moment that we had with Gardner Minshew. AOC did start that game, but that's the game where he actually got injured. If you guys remember, that's where he hit his thumb on that guy's helmet and broke his thumb. And I think it was like late second quarter or something like that. Uh, Gardner Minshew came in and he looked terrible coming off the bench. On the first drive, interception. I think his second or third drive, fumble for a return for a touchdown. He had another interception after that. This was the game, and I don't know if you guys know, but this was the actual game when there was no touchdowns. It was all field goals. So our 15 points was all field goals. There was no touchdowns in that game, and we just looked god awful. I think then if you're a Gardner Minshew fan, I think you finally came to the realization that he's not the one, right? Um, I know I had been done with them since Denver. This only solidified my thought process. And we're 2-15. The season's starting to look bleak. We knew um, there might be a change coming. We weren't too sure yet, but with all the drama, all the bullshit that happens, obviously Raiders are not shy about drama. That's something that carries with us, I guess. It really wouldn't be the Raiders without drama, right? And obviously, with that, we finally get to put to bed the whole Devontae Adams trade scenario, because at one point we were like, he's not going to get traded. He is going to get traded. What are we going to get for it? We should get a lot for it. And we should get another player. We should get draft picks. The whole split was on that, right? We were split at that point. People were saying Devontae's leaving. Some people were saying he wasn't, but we got our answer. And finally, Devontae gets traded to the Jets, and only Devontae Adams fashion makes his little guest appearance on the Pat McAfee show with his best buddy, Aaron Rodgers, and they announced to the world that he's a New York Jet. I, for one, was happy that happened. We were able to finally move on from the distraction that was Devontae Adams. And mind you guys, Devontae hadn't played since Carolina game, right? And so he was out for what, 4 games? So 4 games of him not playing and being a distraction. It's fucking crazy, right? But yet he was there. He was there, and we finally got to put to bed the whole thorn of our side, which was whether or not this guy's going to leave or not, whether or not he really wants out. And we found out that he really wanted out. He just wanted to go somewhere where he was just kind of familiar with, right? But I for one was over that, so I'm glad. I'm glad. But we're able to go ahead and kind of refocus ourselves, right? We had a big game coming up, and we had our most hated rivals. We had the Chiefs coming into town in Vegas, and that was a very close game. We actually almost won that game. Very close game throughout, and it was a 27-20 loss in Vegas. Now, tight game throughout. Minshew only had that one fumble, and just by the stroke of luck, We weren't, Chiefs end up pulling out. But we kept up with them. And the game that probably a lot of us thought we were going to get blown out. Obviously, I think Chiefs were still undefeated at that point. Before I think they were about to play the Bills either in a game or two after that. But we were really hoping to be the ones to really burst that bubble, but that wasn't the case. But I mean, the next best thing, we ended up being very competitive in that game with the Chiefs. It was, not the highest scoring game, but we were able to put up 20 points on the Chiefs, and which is always a good thing. But um, that definitely you can walk away with that as a success by one, not getting blown out, two, staying very competitive when you had a very an offense that was really struggling and had no identity, and we were still able to muster up 20 points against one of the probably top defenses, because their Kansas City's defense this year is a little bit better than previous years. Their offense is not as great, but their defense is better. Chris Jones, obviously, he's always a threat um, coming from that rush. So for us to do fairly well and almost beat them, um, we see that there was some potential there. But obviously, you know, that was another loss, and that point we're 2-6, uh, and we're starting to see that this is not going to be a winning season for us, right? I think a lot of us still had hope. There were still some games that we could potentially win out. I think a lot of us haven't lost faith yet, but it was starting to fester, right? But um, really quick before I go into the next segment, as always, make sure if you guys are watching the show, thank you guys for being on the show. Happy New Year's to everyone. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Again, uh, help to support the show. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. I'm dropping shorts uh, every week. Doing shows at least 2 to 3 times a week. So make sure you guys tap into that. We're doing the Raider Connection most likely tomorrow with Jeff New England Booster, who is on here, Cheetah Linus, and LV Raider 10. And that will be around the same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys tap in. That is the last game of the year. And that's not the last show for us, but that is the last game of the year. So make sure you guys tap into that. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well. But we had week 9, right? We're about to go almost into a bye week, and we had to travel to Cincinnati. And you know, again, another struggling team in the Cincinnati Bengals, who weren't doing fairly too well. Joe Burrow had some struggles. I think he was injured for a little bit. But Cincinnati had some struggles, and we thought we had a decent shot of potentially pulling one out against Cincinnati, right? But unfortunately, that was not the case. And we ended up actually getting our asses handed to us and getting blown out in that game in Cincy, 41-24 loss in Cincinnati. Um, in that game, again, we started fast, but um, we died for like 3 quarters. And literally we just had 3 touchdowns in that game. 2 from our offense, and then that pick six by Jack Jones. But really, the Raiders had no answer for their run and their game. And that's kind of been the story for a majority of the season, is that obviously the defense has been banged up, and it's been pretty difficult to stop the run game. Any team that kind of runs at us, we have a really hard time trying to stop that. And that sets up the air game for them. So, um, really quick, let me hit up that chat again. Make sure you guys jump on that chat. Chat lives do matter. Um, but to my guy Jeff, I believe we are doing it tomorrow. I think that's some. I think that was the agreement from last week, unless something changed. But obviously, we'll see. We'll figure it out with Leo and see what's up. But yeah, most likely will be Raiders connection tomorrow. But after this loss, we can decompress and refocus. Right. We had the bye week. Right, and then in that bye week, um, we picked up because obviously AOC was injured. We picked up a little quarterback, um, unknowingly to all of us. Tom Telesco decides to go ahead and pick up Desmond Ritter, and that's the first that we hear of Desmond Ritter. And so we pick up this guy off the practice squad that really nobody really knew, right? From the Arizona Cardinals, and he was a mobile quarterback, had a little bit of arm, had a brief stint in Atlanta as a starter, but really didn't do much. And so we all thought maybe this guy could come out and salvage our season, right? Um, and obviously he needed a little time to learn our system, to learn our plays, and all that. But we get to find out later on. There's a reason why he was on the practice squad, right? But we go into the next following week. We had the Dolphins, so we had to go back on the road to Miami, and again, Dolphins not having a great year themselves. Um, we all thought probably this is a game that we can possibly steal, one that at least we had a fair shot of possibly winning. But unfortunately, that was not the case as well. And on that week 11 loss, it was a 34-19 loss in Miami. Um, with that, I mean, Raiders couldn't really score enough points. We couldn't stop the Dolphin run game. And even though it wasn't a lot, they only ran for 80 yards in that game. But we gave up big yardage. And again, turnovers were really the really our motto of the season. Gardner Minshew gives up another interception, and really the turnovers is what really killed us in a lot of these games that we lost. That if it was mistake free or you know uh, where it was just those errors that he made, could have been a different turnout for some of these games. But that was a tough loss, being on the road going into Miami. Obviously, another thing that really hasn't been mentioned a lot. One thing is that the Raiders would constantly leave late to their games. We just started finding out, um, literally, uh, this last game, right? And because their plane got delayed in Vegas, they had mechanical failure or mechanical problems with their airplane. But normally, these guys supposed to leave around the Wednesday or Thursday of the week to go ahead, especially if you're traveling back east, to get time to get acclimated to the time zone changes. I don't know if anybody has traveled to the East Coast, but like from the West Coast, or even if you live somewhere in the Midwest, going to one time zone difference, I mean, it does mess with your body. And obviously, being more athletic helps, but it still runs you down. So having them leave, literally they would leave either Friday night, to get there like late Friday, or sometimes they would leave Saturday, right? And again, we just had this happen in New Orleans where they left Saturday night at 7 p.m. They got there like around midnight, hotel room by 1 a.m. They had to get up like 8 or 9 o'clock their time, Central Time, to get ready for that game. and having a few hours sleep with the 2 hour time difference on your body, it just fucks with you. So this was kind of the practice since the beginning of the season. So you guys know, I mean, we don't know how much it really affected the guys, but if they left Friday morning and getting there Friday noon, or if they leave around noon, getting there Friday afternoon, and having really one full day to get your body adjusted to get ready for game day, it's a lot to ask for. So that's one thing I wanted to point out to everyone, that that's something they've been doing since the beginning of the year, but that might have led to some of these away game losses when they have to travel across country. That might play a factor. So, but obviously with this win, I'm sorry, with this loss, we had another opportunity to try to reclaim ourselves and possibly try to go to get a win again, especially against a division rival, um, and redeem ourselves for a terrible performance that we put out in Denver. And week 12, we had the opportunity to go ahead and play the Broncos at home, and that didn't fare well. And we actually ended up losing that one 29-19 by 10. Better score, but still a pretty tough loss at home. Obviously, this is the second game that we lose to Denver, and at that point, the whole you know uh, us dominating Denver had been over, and especially by this win. I'm sorry, by this win by them, kind of solidified that, and that's kind of when we probably started shifting our focus to the draft. We started kind of a lot of us started already kind of accepting the fact that this season was just shit. We're ready to go ahead and just call it, and we started kind of accepting the fact that we were not going to make the playoffs or even have a decent record, right? I believe at this point we're like 2-9 with that Bronco loss. But yeah, I mean, in that game we had the return of Michael Mayer, and the Raiders actually had to lead the first half. Um, and then it was a close game until the fourth. Minshew had one interception, one touchdown. And probably one of the points in that game, and the questionable points from like AP, was that um in that late fourth quarter, if you guys remember, I think it was like 3 minutes left in the game. So instead of going for it on fourth and goal, with 3 minutes left, he decides to go ahead and hit that field goal, right? And I think a lot of us were like, take the fucking shot down, take another shot at it and see if we can go ahead and get in, because getting close with the field goal was really not going to do much for us, right? Um, but that was one of the questionable calls. Obviously, with this one too, this game is the game where we finally saw the end of Gardner Minshew. This is a game, that late fourth quarter, where they're trying to mount something together, and Gardner Minshew gets tackled and breaks his collarbone, and gets rushed off the field, right? And then nobody knew what happened, and then next thing you know, that he's out of the game, and Ritter's in, and Ritter had like 2 minutes and something left to put something together and try to save the game. And obviously, that was a colossal failure in itself. He just looked unprepared and just lost out there, right? And it was a tough loss, because again, this is a second straight loss to Denver, and you don't want to lose consecutively to Denver. But with that happen, we all wonder what's going to happen now, right? We Gardner Minshew just broke his arm, or broke his collarbone. AOC was still out. It was projected that he probably needed about another week or two for his return, right? Because he's still healing that thumb. And then next thing you know, we're hearing talks of AOC possibly coming back and making a triumphant, dramatic return against the Chiefs. Um, and at this point, we're 2-10, right? Um, but sorry, we're 2-9. But at the last moment, the week of that game, I believe that Monday, we get the call that AOC is going to be starting that game, and a lot of us were very happy about that. I'm not an AOC fan, I'm not, but to hear that he was going to go ahead and make a comeback to try to beat out the Chiefs and repeat that Christmas miracle of last year was music to my ears, at least. I thought we had a really good shot of it at it, and we did. So come Friday, uh, day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, we had that Black Friday game, and it was a close one. Ended in controversy, but a very close one where we literally had that game almost dead to rights to win, and we lose that 19-17 in KC versus a KC crowd that's tough. I haven't been to KC personally, but uh, I hope to make the trip hopefully next year. But it's a tough crowd to play at, right? And we almost pulled that one out. Obviously, it was actually a very tight game until the very end with that miscue fumble snap. I don't know. Was that a blown call or was that all Raiders? You guys let me know your thoughts on that because I know that a lot of us thought that was a blown call and that overruled that it was an illegal shift than a false start, though it was indicated by that line judge of that false start motion. If you guys see my other episodes, I break this down more, and you see the tape, you see the video with the guy doing the hand motion and throwing the flag and doing the hand motion coming from the sideline, running in to blow that play dead, right? But he got overturned, and the refs saved the Chiefs uh, to lock in that win, 19-17, and AOC had a really good game in that one. 23 out of 35. He had 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is the first time, and I think probably a month and a half that we broke 100 yards in rushing. Um, and it was our game to win. It was our game to win. We almost pulled it out. That repeat of Christmas of last year, where we stole it in KC. And I think moving forward now, um, KC thinks about us twice every time they play us, especially at their house, because they know we can come in and bring it to them 120% and smash their fucking teeth in for all 4 quarters and make them play us hard like it's a fucking Super Bowl. That's how tough we play these guys. And for us to have a score like 19-17 versus basically our bitter rival in this division, the the team that we all hate, the target that we go for every year, not the Broncos, not the Chargers, the Chiefs, to almost beat them at home. And they got bailed out by the refs. Says something that this fucking team has heart. They have moxie. They had the will to win. And I always say, guys, these rivalry games, they're another beast. They bring out something in these guys that just drives them. and you see that on the field. So that was a very important game. Came close, came close, but we just couldn't pull that one out. I think we got that one stolen. But let me go to the chat. I want to know you guys' thoughts on this because this is still a hot topic to a lot of us. I haven't forgotten this game. This was last month. This was a month and a half ago, right? It feels like a long time, but it was a month and a half ago. I haven't forgotten this game. So, really quick, salute to James. Thank you for jumping on. Happy New Year to you, brother. I appreciate your Raiders. Billy, it was some bullshit. It was some bullshit. Hell yeah. I agree 100%. They stole that from us, man. Ducky, even with the legal shift, the play was blown dead. Should have been fourth down. Agreed. And that's the thing that I think that the argument was made is like, look, you blew the fucking play dead. It should be repeat. It should go to a fourth down, or should repeat the down at that point and do the whole thing over again. The most important thing is that we would have held on to the ball. We could either hit the field goal from that point, or we take shot down the field, right? And I think that was the whole mindset going into that play. It was a third down, I believe, and I have my thoughts on this. So when I reviewed that whole sequence of that play, once I forgot who we hit to get to that point in the field, but we spiked the ball. We stopped the clock. At that point, it's like having a timeout, right? We go into that third down situation, clock stop. We rushed that play. I don't know why. The only thing that was going was the game clock was stopped. The play clock was going because obviously you have to run the play, but we still had like 10. I think we had like 15 seconds in that play clock. You had time to go ahead and line up and snap the ball and snap the ball, bring your play, right? Everything was just rush, rush, rush. It was loud, yes, but that play was just rushed from the get go. Did it cause a miscue? Yes, definitely did it cause a miscue. Was it an illegal shift? No, I don't think that was an illegal shift. That looked like a false start to me. Everybody was in fucking motion, right? You got guys moving during that snap. False start. I don't know. It was called and that's the thing. These guys will bend the rules or manipulate the rules, the refs, to go ahead and put it to the Chiefs' advantage, because this not only has happened to us, but it's happened to other teams. So I'm not pulling shit out of my ass trying to make it stick. It's not that. This is a repeated offense type thing. So, but yeah, this one hurt. I really thought that this is a game that we would have stole it again in KC. That would have been phenomenal. I know we would have loved that. Even if we wouldn't have won any more games this season, mind you, let's say we wouldn't have won against Jacksonville or on Sunday versus the Saints. If we would have won that game, that would have made the season. I could have walked away happy with that. I'm like, hey, you know what? The season was dog shit, but at least we beat the Chiefs in their house. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But Ducky agreed, false start on JPJ. And yeah, you see him. If you guys watch the highlights again, you see him argue with the ref, like, "Hey, bro, I moved. That was on me." So, but I don't know. Obviously, it was just one of those things that we're known to get screwed over for. But um, we had to move on from that game, wash that game off as hard as it was. We had Tampa, uh, right around the corner, and we had to get back on the road again. We had to travel back to the East Coast, to Florida, and it was week 14, and we thought we'll see what we can do with Tampa Bay, and obviously having playing a tough opponent like them. You never knew what way the ball will fall on, right? But Baker Mayfield's always tough in that division, and then us going in and traveling the East Coast is even harder. But we try to go in there and do the damn thing. But unfortunately, we didn't fare too well in that game, and that was another Raider loss, 20-13 in Tampa. Um, and at that game, I mean, that was a game where we thought, honestly, maybe it was going to be a huge blowout. The Bucks started hot. They put up 14 on us, but we had that second quarter comeback, and we lit up the Bucks. We put up 10 on them, and we started feeling pretty good about ourselves, and we thought we were in decent position to possibly make a run, right? Um, and we didn't start fairly well in that second half, and but we started putting things together, and then next thing you know, AOC gets hurt. He runs and he gets pushed out of bounds, and then you see the cart come in, and they fucking air cast his leg, and we're thinking the worst. This guy just fucking tore off his leg. He just suffered an ACL tear, and if that happened, that's donezo for the season. And then next thing you know, we see again the return of Ritter um, come in, and um, really didn't get anything together, um, and everything just went to shit after that. Bucks ended up putting a few more points together. I think they ended up putting two more touchdowns at us. Excuse me. And 28-13 was the final score. And again, got us all wondering, what do we do now? Because there's no more Gardner Minshew. He's done for the year, right? Gone for the season. Broke his collarbone. You had Desmond Ritter, who just looks fucking lost out there, and runs for his life half of the time or three-quarters of the time. You had the rookie quarterback in the practice squad, Carter Bradley, son of Gus Bradley, um, back there. So who do you go for, right? Um, and then next turn of events, we see Desmond get the nod for the start for this next game, and then uh, uh, Carter gets promoted to active roster, right? Um, so we're seeing what happens in this next game, but this is really where I think we started focusing on the draft. The talks of Shadur were starting to take steam, and everyone has started grasping for that, little golden ring and that little limelight, and that's Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward, the draft, right? Raiders, I think at this point were like fifth in the draft, and as these losses mounted, their rise started to increase. And after this loss, we finally got the number one overall pick, and we were all ecstatic, right? Um, the possibility of Shador was becoming a reality, um, or Cam, right? And Shador and Cam were just in the news, in social media almost 24/7, right? Again, salute to you guys who are out there celebrating New Year's. Cheers. Make sure you guys are safe. Drink responsibly. I'm at home, so I'm good. But yeah, make sure if you guys are out, uh, you know, get a designated driver, take an Uber. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves. But yeah, we got the number one overall pick. Um, and we're all thinking we got Shadur on lock, um, and or Cam on lock, whatever way you fell, that is become a real possibility, right? And then we had week 15 versus the Falcons in Vegas. We go back home after two-game travel on the road and two losses, two hard losses. Um, Desmond Ritter started in Vegas at home and on Monday night, and that was not a good showing. And we finally got to see y'all why Desmond Ritter was on the practice squad, right? Uh, Desmond Ritter had a terrible performance. I mean, this guy literally put up one touchdown and had two interceptions, and that was it for the whole game. The whole game. Um, made Kirk Cousins look like a superstar. Um, in basically a moment where Kirk Cousins struggles in prime time, right? And he couldn't put anything and normally loses these games, but Desmond was just so bad that um, we we made him look like a stud, right? And that was a tough loss, and at that point, um, you know, the season was pretty much over for us. We knew that us having that number one overall pick was really um, the highlight of our season, right? Because now we knew that we can go into this next coming year and be able to get the quarterback that we need, right? Put this team together for AP and really, really make this next year a kind of pivotal standing point that we can go ahead and build our future on. And so we're riding on the coattails that okay, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of let the season go, let the season kind of play out the way it plays out, right? And see, see where the chips may fall. Obviously, we knew that by us not winning any more games, um, it was going to increase our stock draft wise, right? By getting that number one overall pick. But um, yeah, obviously, AP and the rest of the team had different plans, right? And we'll get into that in just a second. I want to go ahead and salute the chat as always. Thank you guys again for jumping on, being on the show. Uh, Happy New Year to everyone watching. Thank you guys so much. Uh, Really quick salute to my guy, Raider Rebel. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being on. We got to do a show together. I'll hit you up, but we got to run it back. 2025 for sure. Um, Fear Raider, salute to you, brother. Thank you for being on. Yep, the refs did rob us. So still can't get over it. Still can't get over it. It's been a month and a half. Still can't get over it. But yeah. Um, Obviously, again, we're writing on that. Hey, we're looking to kind of wash this season off. We're looking more towards the draft and seeing what we can go ahead and get out of that. But like I said, AP and team had different plans. But the biggest thing here is that the fire AP room was started. They started to take steam, and I don't know if y'all know, but in my earlier episodes, I did say that if we ended up with a 2-15, 3-14 record, it would be really hard for us to justify AP staying on as head coach. I think any team would justify would be hard to justify their head coach staying on with a record like that. Rookie or no rookie, especially if you're not a rookie, you're getting you're getting looked at really hard. But having especially in our organization where we go through coaches like if they were a pair of socks, right? We're changing them every day. Um, and so we that started to take steam where excuse me, the talks of bringing in somebody else like Mike Grable, Ben Johnson, Belichick at one point was really talked about. If you guys remember, before he got that gig at UNC, he was, the rumor of Tom, kind of checking his pulse to see if he would be interested in coming over to the Raiders was kind of running around as well. So we had all this shit. We're back to the drama. We're back to the turmoil with the Raiders, and then possibly the talks of AP has possibly lost the locker room with all these losses. We hadn't won a game since September. So obviously you're getting all this chatter and all this stuff coming out from different areas, so-called sources or whatever, um, and the maybe AP's you know out the door or he's already out the door. He might be playing for his resume. And we still don't know to date whether or not he's going to stay or not. And let me know your guys' thoughts on that for sure. Because that's still relevant. We do not know whether or not Antonio Pierce is going to stay on as a Raiders head coach for 2025. I think he has another year on his contract, but that doesn't prevent you from getting fired, right? So that's still the question here, whether or not he's going to stay on. Obviously, um, the win the other day kind of changes things up, right? And I'll get to that in just a second. But that started to take steam, and we go into week 16, uh, hosting the Jags at home in Vegas, right? And I was very excited for that game because um, that's a game that um, I go to. I went to that game. I was very excited to be there, and we had on paper we had a decent shot of actually winning it. I think we were favored in that one, and we went in and pulled it out, 19-14. And I'm gonna tell you guys, um, in that game, the energy in the building was completely different. Completely different. Um, Mind you guys that ticket prices were bottoming, they were dropping like flies, right? I honestly didn't buy my ticket to like 2 days before the game. I waited that long. I know my buddy LV Raider 10. He purchased his tickets a little bit beforehand. But it's hard. It's hard because there was so many times, and I don't know if anybody went to that game. Please let me know in the chat. Let me know when you buy your tickets too. Because we're so used to like buying it, a month, 2 months before to try to get that cheap price, right? And in this case, it was reversed. You had to wait later to get the cheaper price. So I waited 2 days before the game to get my ticket, and I'm glad I did because I got to sit on the black hole, and I paid almost nothing for those. Where normally I end up paying like 250 plus to sit there. So it was like uh, a fraction of that, which was awesome. But the energy in that in that game was completely different. The energy in the field and the building was different. That offense looked different with AOC. That's the return of AOC. So the whole thing with him getting injured in Tampa ends up being that he got a bone bruise in his knee. And this guy was going to make a he was going to try to make a return. He was going to try to play on that Monday night versus Atlanta. And they told him, no, you got to fucking sit down and let it heal for a while. And so he did, but they eventually gave him the go ahead for this game at Allegiant at home. And man, that kid came out fucking with the chip on his shoulder, almost gun blazing. They started off good. They had a 13-7 lead in the half. Defense showed up. They fucking held the Jags to 14 points. And that was the first win in 2 months since September. Can you imagine? I mean, going through all those games, losing, and then we end up winning against the Jags. Though I don't care what the fuck anyone says. I know the Jags suck, and I know they're going through their issues and whatnot, but a win's a win at the end of the day. Whether it's meaningless or not, if you're watching the game, you're at the game, you want the competitiveness comes out, and you want to win. You want your team to win, and that's what ended up happening. This game was they played that game almost textbook. It was mistake free, I believe. There was almost no turnovers by the Raiders. I don't think there was one. We did create turnovers, but as far as on us, I don't think there was one. I looked over the scores earlier today, and I didn't see them. But yeah. Let me go to the chat real quick and let me know what you guys think about this win, because the Raider Nation was so split on this win, and this is where really we lost that number one pick. Nation was split. Let me know. You guys let me know your thoughts on this. But before I jump into the chat, as always, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Again, I am trying to go for 100 subscribers. I am at 74, I believe. Last I checked, so let's go ahead and get that up to 100. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, dropping shorts every week, doing 2 shows minimum per week. And again, I believe we are doing the Raider Connection tomorrow. Hopefully, unless we agree not to, but most likely that will happen tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific, at 10 p.m. Eastern on here on YouTube. So make sure you guys tap in for that. But let's go ahead and jump into the chat, because obviously chat logs do matter. I appreciate all of you being on. Frank Weber, thank you, brother, for being on. Happy New Year to you too. AUC ain't no clown. Given the right circumstances, that boy can ball. That's what it looked like that game, to be honest with you. He was on it. You can't fault him for trying. If somebody who literally busted their knee the game before and wants to go out and try to play, I think like 6 or 7 days after that, or 8 days after that, that shows character. And so that's because he's about his team. He's about trying to win, and being the best player out there that he can be. So yeah, that just shows a lot of character from AOC. I'm not an AOC fan. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. So for me saying all this shit it's a fucking miracle. But the kid has been playing really good, and we're about to get into that next part. But really quick, Frank says, when you're my age, enjoy every win because you never know when it'll be your last. Well, I'm getting up there myself, so I am trying to enjoy every win. Especially when you go out to the actual games, being there in person, obviously just taking in uh, the feeling of it, the fans, the other fans are there with you, and partaking in the game. You feed off of that. So that's why I said this game, the energy was different. And I watched the replay again, and because I haven't seen the game, like the highlights and the sound of it, aside from what happened in the stadium, because I don't know, I feel like there's a disconnect from what happens during the game, like live, to what's actually broadcasted. I don't know if it gets diminished or not, um, by the sound of the or by TV broadcast and everything. So it sounded pretty loud, and we were pretty vocal in that game. So I'm glad it was kind of the same way. So, but yeah, going back to that win. So obviously we got that win, and nation split, right? And with that win, we lost the number one draft pick, and everybody's up in war, right? We dropped to six um, in that game from that win, and we all thought that's it. No more Shadur, no more Cam. We're lucky to go ahead and get a linebacker or a lineman at this point, and obviously, if you guys saw my last show, um, there's still options to that, right? We could still trade up to get a high draft pick. Obviously, and then we'll go into that in a bit. But at this point, we thought all hope was lost. We have a shit season. Now we lost a draft pick. We can't do shit right. Can't even lose right. I heard that being thrown around a lot. I don't know if you guys have, but that's I heard that constantly. You can't even lose right. Oh, this and that. Right. So that talk was going on. And so I was still like, well, hey, we still got 3 games to go. A lot of things could happen. We don't know yet. That game versus the Saints, toss up, can go either way. Saints could decide to go ahead and show up and play us hard and pull one out, or vice versa, right? And in that game, in that week 17 game, which was this past Sunday, we were favored to win. We were favored to win. I don't know what the spread on it was, but we were favored to win. But like I said earlier, we've been going to those road trip games, especially in the East Coast. We leave late. We decided to leave on Friday as usual, and apparently there was plane trouble, so we couldn't leave. And they got delayed by a whole day in Vegas, and they didn't leave until 7 p.m. Saturday. They didn't leave until 7 p.m. Saturday, and they got there around midnight, local time in Louisiana. They didn't check into their hotel room until about 1 a.m. And then they got up like at 8 or 9 to start getting ready for their pregame warm up and all that stuff. Um, so you get about 5, 6 hours sleep, because you might not go to sleep right away. I don't know. They all have different sleeping habits, obviously, but you're still finding jet lag, 2 time zone difference from Vegas. You're on Pacific time in Vegas. You just went into Central time. 4 hour flight, 5 hour flight, whatever. Um, so you're finding all that, right? So now that you have the odds stacked against you, and once I heard that, I'm like, well, I don't know if we're gonna win or not, because you had all this shit happen, and this affects you physically. Not only mentally, because I've flown to New York and New Jersey, and that knocked me out for like a day and a half, right? And I'm not the athlete that I was before, but it knocked me out. So I can only think that somebody who's in better shape affects you, not as much, but you're still out for about half a day or maybe a day at best, right? And so these guys under pressure, lack of sleep, jet lag, um, arriving late, all this stuff, go into New Orleans and did the unthinkable and pulled one out in New Orleans at the Superdome, 25-10 win in New Orleans. Incredible, incredible. You know, again, this was a game where we finally again got the run game going over 100 yards. Got the air game going. Um, AOC hit 388 in total yards. You could say like, hey, you know what? So what? They beat a Saints team that is garbage. They have all their guys on IR. So what? We did what we were supposed to do. They favored us to win. We were supposed to win, and we went out there and won. That's what teams do. That's what good teams do. We're not even that good of a team, but we did what we were supposed to do, and that's the important part. That um, we went out, we played hard against adversity, and it's the whole mental and physical thing, the toll of the flight and whatever, and then playing during the game and all that. They were still able to go out and pull one out. They won in a pretty impressive fashion. The 15 points. That's probably one of the biggest leads that I mean we. Who do we beat? We haven't. We beat. We won against Baltimore. That was by 3 points. Um, we beat the Browns. We beat them by 4 points. We beat Jacksonville by 5, and now we win by 15. We did what we were supposed to do, and that's what a team that has potential. I mean, good teams do what they're supposed to do, meaning going in if they're favored, they're going in and they win, especially against a weaker team who is either battling injuries or just having a terrible season. They go in and they do that. They win those games. And so I think this shows a little bit of potential of what we can actually do. Obviously, you have the talks of, maybe AOC should have started the whole from the beginning of the season. The outcome would have been different. Maybe we would have picked up a few more wins. I don't know if we make the playoffs or not, but would have been way more competitive than we would have been at. Right, excuse me. Um, Maybe we win 7, maybe 8 games, maybe realistically probably like 6, right? Around there. I don't know if we make the playoffs. This is a tough division. Obviously, we're AFC West, Chiefs. You got the Chargers, literally revamped Chargers, who are 10-6. Would have fucking thought that? Um, they're finding their way with Harbaugh over there. Um, you got Denver now. I think they're like 9-7, and Bo Nix and and them doing that over there. Um, so you're having a tough division to compete in, right? Um, but obviously, you guys saw what we did against the Chiefs. Um, we kept it somewhat close with the Chargers. Broncos, on the other hand, we had a failure of a game, and then we had a closer game, right? So maybe we could have won a few more games if AOC started, if that was the case. Now, there's a whole thing behind that, right? There's a whole thing behind that. People say that Antonio Pierce wanted AOC to start from the beginning. And that probably got overruled by Telesco. And that would make sense because we paid so much for Gardner, 15 million for, I think, for 2 years or 3 years, whatever the contract is. And you want to go ahead and put out the guy who you just paid a fortune to. It's a lot of money for a 2-year contract or 3-year contract. Um, and so I get that side of it, but that's probably not going to be your best player because you have AOC who's been with the team since the year before, right? Who came in and took over for Jimmy Garoppolo, um, and put up a decent season. Who's familiar already with a lot of the guys, familiar with Tucker. He's familiar with Myers, right? He already has that repertoire. Familiar with Myers, Mayer, with Michael Mayer. So he already has that familiarity. He already has that timing down. I don't give a fuck what you say. That does matter, and that does make a difference. Um, to having compared to having a complete stranger come in and you have to build that trust, that relationship on getting your timing together, knowing how this guy likes to throw or how this guy likes to run his routes. All that stuff matters, right? But yet they still pick Minshew, and this is what we started off with. Maybe you're right. Maybe if we started AOC, we win. I don't know if we win against the Chargers that first game. Maybe. But we definitely win against the Rams, right? If he wouldn't have broken his thumb, I think that's a game that we would have stolen. I believe that we could have fared way better with Carolina. Maybe that would have been a closer game. Obviously, you had he did play against the Steelers, but definitely went against the Rams. You know, the Dolphins. Those are teams that we could have done fairly better with. But yeah, that argument's there that AOC, if AOC would have started from the beginning of the year, it would have been a different outcome. But again, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Let me hit up the chat. Um, let me see here. Frank Weber, proud Raider victory. Yes, they were. And we might actually potentially go on a 3-game winning streak uh, this Sunday coming up. If you ever thought that we would actually get on a winning streak this season, but um, yeah. Um, John, salute to John. Thank you for being on the show, brother. We beat a Saints but we were had backups on defense to give us some credit. Definitely. I mean, we're playing. I mean, we have Epps out. We have obviously Kuntz has been out since beginning of the year. Jacorian Bennett, Max is out. Wilkins is out. Um, you know, we're playing Hobbs. I think Hobbs played in that game, but I heard somebody said that Hobbs played in that game. I don't know, but apparently Hobbs was injured for quite a while. Um, I mean, so we're playing with a lot of backups. Fortunately, Chase on has worked out. Spillane has stepped up. He's been a leader in that defense. You got Paul Mal who's worked out. Morik has stepped up. So you're having all these guys, come in and really showcase their talent. We're starting to see more effort, more of a drive from Jack Jones, right? Um, and we were questioning a lot of his intentions early in the year, but I think now it's just uh, him really showing the effort, showing the love out there because it's starting to come to that time where if he wants to stick around, he has to put out 110% on the field, right? But yeah, Ducky, I had us at 10-7 with AOC, not Minshew. Very generous. I don't know if we do 10-7 our record. Honestly, I think it would have been, if I'm being generous, it would have been 8-9. 8-9. We get 8 wins though. And we probably would have been, let's say we're eight, we would have been 8-8 by now. So maybe we're fighting for contention and possibly the playoffs. I don't know. I haven't, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't looked at the AFC playoff picture. Um, so I wouldn't know if there's still teams trying to buy in. I don't know what the record would be. I peeked at it like 2 months ago, and back in October when I was, thinking we still had a somewhat of a fair shot to possibly try to make it, but yeah, it would have been realistically more 8-9. Frank, Raider defense showing a lot of promise down the road. Teams better look out. They are obviously, and I'll get into it in a bit. There's guys that we resign, right? Um, there's guys that we can go ahead and part ways with. So obviously, who stays or goes? That's going to be the question, right? Um, Ducky, I'm convinced Getsy and Telesco outvoted AP. I agree with you, brother. That looks like it was the case. You can tell from the interviews that it was very much their relationship is not the best. The way he answers questions when it comes to like um, signings or the draft, that's third floor. That's third floor. Got to talk to Telesco. That's third floor. Their response is kind of indicative of their relationship. Normally, right? We really don't know. We know they're we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, right? But um, it's a fair guess to make that they don't have the best relationship. They don't see eye to eye. AP probably wants control because he's a rookie. He rookie head coach, Telesco might not want to give up that power, right? He might feel his way is better because he's been around the league for so long. So that might be the conflict. We don't know. Uh, Frank, I don't have any beef with Minshew, but not playing AOC might have stunted some growth. Maybe. Obviously, we see what AOC is doing now. 2 wins in a row. 15-point win on the road with all the obstacles that were laid in before them, and still put up 25 points. Broke the 20-point glass ceiling that we had for a month and a half. Right? We couldn't break 20 for a long time. Like I think last time we broke 20 was versus the Bengals, week 9, right? So that's a long time not to hit over 20 points. And I've said every show, every Raider Connection show, we need to break 20, we need to break 20, we need to break 20. Or every episode that I put out a video or I did a live, we got to break 20, we got to break 20. And we finally did. And now we see we won in a pretty almost dominant fashion. So, yeah. Let's see here, bruh. I haven't seen a Telesco presser all season. I want to hear what he has to say. Me too. Um, Obviously this guy doesn't do pressers. We might hear from him probably in the off season, and it'll be interesting to see what he says. Um, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, if you're an AP fan, we don't hear from this guy till right before the draft or free agency signing. So, yeah. But um, obviously, with this win, we have a possibility going on a 3-game winning streak, ending the season at 5-12. Again, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Tell me what you think. Do you think the Raiders can reach 5-12 on the season and ended in a high note going into 2025, ending the year, well, I should say, starting the year the right way. We ended off the year the right way. Now, can we start it the right way? Right? Uh, Getting a win at home versus a division rival, a hated division rival because I hate the Chargers, and I still don't count them as LA Chargers. I still think of them as San Diego Chargers. I don't care, but having a win in Vegas at home to end off the season. Obviously, they're in the playoffs, so this win or loss to them doesn't mean anything, right? But it means a lot to us. And so, do you think we're able to go ahead and pull that off? You guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Again, make sure if you guys are watching, hit that like and subscribe button. If you are new to the show, welcome. Thank you guys for joining me on this New Year's Eve special. I appreciate you guys and Happy New Year to everyone watching. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. I'm doing shows at least twice a week, so make sure you guys tap into that. So hit that subscribe button. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on this. Obviously, I think that we have now. I think Jeff. I don't know if Jeff is still here or not, but Jeff had said that New England Raider Booster. He's my co-host for the Raider Connection. Make sure you guys give him a follow and a subscribe, please. But he heard that they're most likely gonna rest their starters on Sunday, right? So if that is the case, we have a fair shot of winning, right? Especially if we continue getting that run game going. If we're continuing to hit 100 yards plus, and AOC keeps playing mistake-free football, we have a fair shot. 100%. We have a fair shot of winning. And so, obviously, that takes us to the last game of the season, Week 18 versus the Chargers in Vegas. My prediction for that. So, obviously, if they bench Herbert and the rest of the starters, I think we can pull that out. It will be a close game. It will be a dogfight for sure. I think we can pull that one out 21-17. Now, if they don't bench Herbert and their starters, if they start them, or at least they play them for 3 quarters, I think we could possibly lose that game. If we do lose that game, it would probably be like a 24-14 loss at home. So, obviously, if you're following the draft, you're not wanting the Raiders to win, right? I respect that, whatever, right? So if they end up losing this game, and now and I'll get into the draft in just a second, guys. The landscape will change again, not only for the Raiders, for everybody in that top 10, right? It just changed this past Sunday with us winning. New York won, Tennessee lost, so that means Jacksonville won, and Cleveland won. I think the Jets lost. So basically, now we're number 8 on the draft. But New York does not have the number 1 pick. Now, obviously, they were not going to let go of that pick, so it would have made things really difficult for us to be able to go ahead and get our Cam or Shador, or try to have somebody from that top 5 be able to put something together with us. But that is a current scenario. We're number 8, right? But before I get into that, Again, let me know. You guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think we win on Sunday? Uh, Hit that chat, light up the chat. Let me know what you guys think. Um, but let me see here. Frank Weber, he thinks Harbaugh's going to bring it. I'm pretty sure he is. I don't think he's not going to bring it. Um, Obviously, it's still a football game. Yeah, play 100%. But then it's a division rival, so you're always going to play your rivals hard, even if it's your backup guy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Um, let's see here. Solo man, if salute to you, brother. By the way, if the Steelers win on Saturday, the Chargers will sit majority of their players. If the Steelers lose, the Chargers will go out and try to secure the fifth seed. Possibility. I don't know. Um, I think they're probably just happy to to make the playoffs the first time in like I don't know 3 or 4 years or however long it's been. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of what the case. But obviously, we don't know. But you might be right on that. Everything kind of depends on the seating. I don't know if it's I don't know if the fifth seed gets home field advantage or not. Maybe that's why they would try to go ahead and do that to try to get a home field advantage for their first game, their first playoff game. So yeah, we'll see. Um, Ducky, I don't know. I don't remember. I'd Harbaugh this Saturday. I Harbaugh sat his starters when he was with the Niners. I don't think he did. Maybe. So maybe. But drop us. Watch us drop 50. Yeah, against the backups, yes. If it's the starters, I don't know. But let's see. Sholo man. Chargers playing for the fifth seed to play Texas instead of playing at the sixth, play the Ravens in Baltimore. Okay, I gotcha. Cool. That makes sense. I mean, obviously, uh, Baltimore is a tougher team when it comes to the playoffs. I mean, usually they get up to the AFC Championship game almost every year. If not, they get knocked down in the second round. But usually they advance out of the first. So but they're a tough team. Texans, I guess you can say they're a little bit easier, but I mean they got CJ Stroud, so that guy that guy's a stud. So obviously we'll see what happens, but um, yeah. So in retrospect, we are at 4-12, possibly on our way to get to 5-12, right? Or 4-13, depends how you look at it, right? Um, how do you grade this performance for this year? Right? That's a good question. So let me get you guys let me know your thoughts on this. How would you grade this year's performance? I grade it as a D, to be honest with you. I was gonna say D minus, but we won the last few games. So I give it a D. Maybe a C minus, depending if we win when we win on Sunday. Maybe it gets bumped up to a C minus, right? But it's been obviously the season's a failure. We're not making the playoffs, and so anytime that happens, it's a failure. You can say that Antonio Pierce wasn't given a solid. He didn't have a solid team put together for him, and we band-aided the quarterback situation with Gardner Minshew, and that's exactly what we did. And we saw the byproduct of that. We had uh, Cliff Kingsbury in our midst, and that fell through, right? Contract negotiation, we couldn't guarantee that we go after Jaden Daniels in the draft, and Washington wanted their quarterback, and they got him, right? Um, Only couldn't get anybody to trade the number one with us. So I agree this and all the injuries. all the injuries, it did affect us, but nonetheless, our record speaks for itself. 4-12, possibly 4-13 or 5-12. So, still, it wasn't a good year at all. So definitely, I give this a D. Again, you guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Um, this year in review, uh, Minshew slash Getsy. Poor game management cost us 2-7 first half. AOC Turners were 2-7 after an improved defense. Number one Pro Bowler Bowers AP coaches staff get a D for effort. I agree. I agree. This year sucked. Mark Captain Kangaroo Davis should be ashamed of himself and the ridiculous haircut. Facts, facts. He should. And I have my thoughts on that, and I don't know. Maybe obviously we got Brady now, and um, Brady gets put in, and most likely he's going to be running football ops, um, quote unquote, right? It's with the whole Fox contract deal and NFL regulations, there's certain things you can and can't do, right? So it's gonna be like it's gonna be kind of out of the movie Casino, where De Niro is like the food and beverage director, food and beverage manager, right? He's secretly running the casino. That's gonna be Tom. Hey, I'm just a minority owner, but I'm secretly running the team. It's probably gonna be that way. So obviously, if he might not be directly saying certain things, right, to make certain things happen, but he might be giving consultations or recommendations, but they probably all would know, hey, you got to do it, or you can get shit can type thing. So we'll see what happens with that, because Mark has said repeatedly, I'm not a football guy. I don't have football IQ. Well, now you got probably the next best thing to football IQ. So um, yeah, we'll see what happens. But um, deplorable Raider, appreciate you being on. Thank you. Happy New Year. Coach gone for the season was a major factor in coming into the season. A big reason, not for meeting expectations. That is part of it. Yeah. I felt like him being out almost, really took kind of like the foot away from the defense. You know, he played such a major part the year prior, and it had such an impact. And we thought, with the addition of Wilkins, him and Max, they were just gonna fucking tear shit up, and just him being out just kind of negated some of that. I mean, we still had faith that Wilkins and Max could do it, and they were starting to do it. And then obviously, Wilkins got hurt, and then Max had his injuries, and so that was all she wrote. So yeah, but Arnie, Dumb and Dumber, Luke Getzey, and Minshew are named terrible free agent signings that led to the tank. Agreed. Obviously, Luke Getzey was not the first choice. Minshew was not the first choice. That was Telesco's backup plan. Both of them were. So, we'll see. Um, but yeah. So with that, who do you guys think which player sucked this year? Right. Um, I don't know. I think we're all on the same consensus here, right? On the chat. Obviously you guys let me know, but Gardner Minshew has to be the worst player this year by far. I don't think there's anybody else that's played so terribly, so atrociously, where you can't really blame so much of these mistakes on Getsy, though. I mean, the play calling, the scheme kind of led to that, because I mean, obviously he wasn't comfortable, but some of the shit is just textbook shit. that you're not supposed to do, or it's just dumb mistakes, right? Um, but I think Gardner Minshew is the player that really sucked this year. You guys let me know your thoughts on who do you guys think sucked this year? The worst player that the Raiders had. I think second would be Ritter. Ritter's there. Ritter, I mean, he had little flashes here and there, but honestly, he's given up a lot of interceptions, and that's normally he does. He hasn't played as terrible as Minshew, but I mean, there's some questionable interceptions that he gave up, right? But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Ah, good point. I'm gonna do Arnie's really quick. Zamir White sucked. Yes, he did suck. Total, like, he was a total letdown from last year. That you can kind of blame that on Getsy as well, but it is him because this guy, he just runs forward. That's all he does. He doesn't have the patience to not run a full blast and kind of look at the field and take his time a little bit to make a decision on whether to cut or whether cut inside or juke or run outside the tackle. He's just a run forward guy. But yes, that one was a good one, Arnie. Um, Minshew was ass. Agreed. The Pro Bowl Raider. My pick was Andre James. Yes, Andre James has not been playing good this year. He's dog shit. We see the difference between him and JPJ. JPJ is that center position is a natural position for JPJ, and we see what happens when you put him into that position, right? The only snafu obviously was the Black Friday game, right? But that play was all fucked from the get go. But that's a rookie mistake that's going to happen. Uh, but the consistency for JPJ has been there. It's night and day between them. That you can go ahead and argue, but um, Frank, why you gotta pick on Minshew? One of my girlfriends used to babysit him. Man, it's not picking on him. The proof is in the pudding, my friend. The proof is in the pudding. Just go throughout the year, go through the highlights. I put something together uh, about him that was just god awful. Just going through the tape, I was just like, "Fuck, this guy's just terrible." From the first game with the Charger that week 1, where I don't know what the fuck he did, where he literally fumbled himself. Nobody touched him. Literally threw it and like went backwards or sideways or something. It had a funky throw. It just stuff like that. Stuff like that. He ran into blocks. No, no, no. It's not picking on him. It's just speaking the truth. My guy Jeff New England Boosters Parham. He does not like Parham, but he is right. Parham is dog shit. You could tell. It just the way he plays, the effort he gives, and just how he gets beat. He gets beat. Feel bad for the guy sometimes, but yeah, it just when he's on the line and it's a halfway decent uh, edge rusher, he gets fucking smashed. Um, but Arnie cut White, Minshew, and James at the same time, and you never know; it might happen. That might be the case going into this offseason. I think we're probably going to move on from White. Uh, Minshew, not only because of his gameplay, but obviously he's injured. So we're probably going to end up moving on from him because we don't know whether he's going to be the same or not. It's the fracture is in his throwing arm. This is on his throwing side, so he might not be the same after this anyway. So I mean, he was bad, so it might be even worse now. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But uh, Frankie was asked to tell him. Oh man, but yeah, Uncle Rico was a turnover machine. It was. Our guy Cheeto Linus, so he looked up the stat. I think it was like 12 turnovers, 10 or 12 turnovers for the season, by him or by us. There's quarterbacks that they don't even reach that in 2 years. Like for reals, guys. Like there's quarterbacks in this league that don't get 12 turnovers for like 2+ years. They don't do that in the season. And Gardner Minshew did this in one season. I'm gonna let that sit for y'all. JPJ, Pro Bowl center for the next 10 years, joins Otto, Robbins, Hudson, awesome Raider history. He looks like he's gonna be that guy. That was a good pickup by Telesco. Not a Telesco fan either. I'm gonna tell you that. But three of his picks hit. Bowers, JPJ, and Glaze, all rookies, all doing the damn thing. Especially at linemen, which is an area that I said repeatedly year over year before I started doing podcasting, guys. I would go onto the Raiders profile on their posts and tag those guys specifically. We need to build the offensive line. Tell your GM every fucking year for the last like 3 or 4 years. And finally that gets at least some attention. It was still terrible, but I think it was Getsy how he had these guys positioned. It just didn't vibe with them. The whole system just didn't vibe. So when the Turners came in and I think they promoted Joe Philbin to O-line, shit got reshuffled and refixed, and we're starting to see a better byproduct of that, right? So we're starting to see these wins and these better performances because now the O-line got shifted, got rearranged a little bit, right? They put JPJ at center, and we saw that starting to be a success. Now, God knows why they put him back at guard and they put James at center, but they did, and it is what it is. But it's all good. But yeah, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's part of it. That's part of it. As for coaching, I suspect that they will hire something they will think will help to sell the tickets. Yes and no. And we'll go into that right now in just a second. Hold that thought. Arnie, don't forget Dolby. Okay. Really quick, one more. Chason, Spillane, Warwick need to get re-signed ASAP. I agree 100%. They do need to get re-signed. Warwick has been playing really good the last few games. He's been hot. Hobbs, on the other hand, he's injury prone. Maybe that's a guy we can keep, but depends on the price. Question to you guys though: who would you guys consider to be the best player? And I talked about this in my other shows. Raider of the year. So I know we suck this year, but there has to be that one guy that stands out, that's been a beacon for this organization and all this bullshit. I think we all know who that is, but I want to hear you guys say it. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it, because maybe we all don't see the same eye to eye, but I say it's going to be Brock Bowers. We knew this guy was special when we drafted him, and we knew he was going to do big things. I just don't think he was going to do big things this way coming into this season. And really quick, before I go any further, Happy New Year to you guys in the East Coast. Happy New Year, Jeff. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much. I love being your co-host, man. I love doing the Raider Connection for you. I wish you guys and your family a very happy new year. I'm looking forward to 2025 and doing big things. I'm on Mountain Time, so I still got 2 hours to go. If you're on Central, you got 1 hour to go. If you're on Pacific, you got 3 hours to go. Yeah, I'm almost there. But a happy new year to everyone on East Coast. Happy new year to my East Coast fam in Jersey. Salute to you guys. Salute to my brother-in-law, my guy Chris, the Pierce family out in Rahway. Appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Uh, and happy new year, everyone. But yeah, um, really quick. So tell me, guys, tell me your thoughts. Raider of the year. Who do you guys think that is? Um, uh, my boy Jeff New England Boosters. Happy New Year from the East Coast. Yes, yes. Uh, Frank, the Ricky T, of course. Yes, sir. Arnie, Brock Bauer is a Raider of the Year, but Abdullah is most improved and great leadership. Yes, he has, and I think we counted him out a little bit at the beginning of the year. And then when Sincere McCormick came in, he fell a little bit to the wayside, but then McCormick got injured and he's really stepped up. I don't know. Who do you guys like more? Do you guys like Madison or do you guys like Abdullah? Who do we keep? Because it looks like most likely one of them is going to stay, right? Since here McCormick is going to stay, he's going to stay, and we're gonna end up drafting a running back, whether it be Genty or somebody else. I don't know, but we're gonna get a running back because we got to build our future, right? McCormick is part of part of that equation. I don't know if he's a solution, but it's definitely part of that equation that we look at and we try and see if that's going to be an option for the future. Could Abdullah or Madison, since they're veterans, do we keep one of those to stick with us to teach these young men the game of the position of running back in the NFL? Tell me you guys' thoughts on that. Frank says Abdullah played above his skill. Honorable mention to Spillane. Let's see here. Arnie says Abdullah gets re-signed right away. Okay. All right. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I like both. But Abdullah has been playing better. Madison is more of the RB2 type guy. That's where he likes to be. That's where he's comfortable. So I don't know. Arnie, what is the highlight for the Raiders this year? Your low light of the year. Oh man. I mean the whole year has been a low light, to be honest with you. But I mean, this that Rams game was tough. We got embarrassed. That was god awful. I turned that fucking thing off like mid fourth quarter because it was just I couldn't watch that shit no more. Um, that was bad. It was bad. The AFC gets hurt, and then me and Shu just stank up the room. It was terrible. That was a low light. Um, I can take the Cincinnati loss. I can take the Carolina loss. It's just when it's piss poor performance from your quarterback who you literally paid $15 million to throw interceptions. Can't accept that, man. That's where I draw the line. Um, but yeah, so I know a lot of you guys are already hitting that chat up, and I wanna strike with the irons hot, and this is a hot topic, and I want to know your guys' thoughts. Right? Is AP still on his way out? He's won two more games. About to go maybe possibly on a 3-game winning streak. End the year off on a high note. Start off 2025 right. But has Mark Davis already made up his mind and decided this guy needs to go? We need to bring in someone else to groom our young talent in this big draft coming up. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because there's that rumor that Mark has already made his decision and has already given AP his pink slip. He knows he's out. He knows that that game on Sunday is the last game of the year or last game with the Raiders. Period. That's it. There's other rumors that if he won this past game versus the Saints, that he gets to stay on. So there's a lot of shit. Again, this is all rumors, guys. We don't know what really goes on because we are not behind the scenes. There's people that say they know somebody who is behind the scenes that is reporting this, and things get regurgitated out there, right? I'm just putting it out there because I'm pretty sure a lot of you already hear the same shit that I hear. But it's good to talk about these things because we can kind of decipher together the bullshit from what could possibly be true. Using um, you know, you know, we I guess the best case scenario where you can devise the best reason for this, right? Sorry, I forgot the word, but at least we can figure this thing out kind of together, and we can decide what's bullshit, what's not, right? So let me you guys tell me, is AP on his way out? Does he stay another year? I think he stays another year. Rookie head coach. You got to give him another shot. You got to set him up with success. And I said this on the rundown show. He was not set up for success from the beginning of the year. To let's go band-aid this season with Minshew, Getsy. We failed to get a quarterback. Yeah, yes, we drafted Browers and JPJ and Glaze, but other than that, nothing really that could really make us a contender in the AFC West, right? Um, we banked on getting that Gardner Minshew from the previous year, but that was under a different system, different players, different coordinator, and definitely could it be replicated here in Vegas, right? So, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. Let me start off with Corian, 2021. Appreciate you for being on, brother. I hope Antonio Pierce gets fired. He's not a head coach. Let's see. Raider fan for life. Yes, he needs to go. Okay. Let's see. Jeff says, how long? Oh, okay, my bad. Ero 77 bullshit shit can his ass. Okay. So a lot of people want AP to go and they think he should go, or most likely, do you guys really think he should go, or do you want him to go? So that's the question here. You might not like him, that's fine. But do you really think he goes? Because we might want him to go, but realistically, will he go? That's the real question here, right? Errol says Gruden, Rabel would be top candidates. We'll see. Del Rio, what is he doing? Not coaching in the NFL, apparently. Arnie says hire Todd Monken as head coach, promote Leonard to defensive coordinator, sign T. Higgins, Fields, draft Gently, and Monroe. What do you think? Well, T. Higgins would cost a lot. That's 30 mil. So, I don't know if we spend that much. We could. Not necessarily would he, but most likely, especially the performance that he put up the other day, kind of explains why he would want $30 million. He fucking just whooped on the fucking Broncos. So I don't know, maybe. Also, you gotta make sure he might not necessarily be interested in coming to Vegas, especially if we don't take care of this quarterback situation. If we don't have that squared away, 100%, he might he might be reluctant to come, but I mean, obviously, money talks, so that's going to be the swinging factor. But that's where I say he might cost a lot to come. Fields, he might be a good bridge quarterback. That might be an option if we can't get anybody in the draft. Genty, if he's still available. I don't know if you draft a running back in the first round. Milrow, I heard Milrow's going to stay in college for another year, and he's going to go to Oregon. I didn't get a chance to confirm that, but I think I saw an article saying that. So I don't know. I think he goes. But we'll see. Give me a second. But yeah, Munkin, I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. I like Robert Saleh as possible candidate for defensive coordinator. So, but would he be interested in coming to the Raiders? Maybe. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. But Fear Raider, I think a decision has been made on the EP, but it's not what people think. AP 2025. You might be right. That's the thing. We just don't know. One thing for sure, we'll know that Black Monday. So if you guys don't know, Black Monday is that Monday after the last game of the season. We'll know then whether or not he stays on as head coach or not. We'll know by then. But yeah, that's the thing here. Has there been a decision made? I don't know. I hope he stays. I hope that we build a team for him, a proper team for him this year. Not cookie cutter this shit. Not coupon this shit. Because you can't really put a winning team trying to coupon. With trying to get this has been player or this you know whatever player and pay a lot of money for it. You do things the opposite way where you're not trying to really be aggressive in the draft, but yet you're overpaying for not a high quality player in free agency. That to me just sometimes it doesn't make sense. So but yeah, we might have some people jump on. We'll see. My guy Rundown and Jeff might jump on, so we'll see what happens, and this might get a little bit hot. Ducky says, "No, you give AP his contract and maybe another." He's still under contract, so I think he still has another year or two. I don't think you extend him yet. If you keep him on for this next season, if he does good or puts on a winning season, then you can do that. And what I mean by winning season, not an 8-9 or 9-8. I'm talking about like double digits, 10-7 or higher. That's really, I'm at 10-7 and you don't make the playoffs. That's still a winning season. You got to go about 500, But really, to put the stamp on it, you got to make the playoffs, and that's really hard to do. When you're drafting a rookie quarterback the first year, if you're going for a rookie quarterback, it's really hard to put that thing together. Obviously, the scenario that might happen is that if we draft a Cam Shador or somebody else, Dylan Gabriel, somebody of that caliber, they're probably going to sit behind the OC next year. And they're probably going to be there sitting and learning until either the scenario presents itself where they can get some playing time or AOC gets injured again and then they have to go in. But at least they'll get some time to sit behind the bench, learn the system, learn how things operate. The speed of the NFL is completely different from college. It's like 10 times the speed. The routes are run incredibly different. So it does become a little bit more of a challenge and to try to get acclimated, but we'll see. I like AP. Apparently, the players do too, but his decisions on fourth downs and extra points totally suck. Also, this is the thing, and I think a lot of people can agree with me on this. The game management, like how you manage your timeouts, when to take a timeout, when to challenge, how to challenge, um, shit like that, also plays a factor. And I think a lot of people, myself included, have scratched our heads and like, what the fuck, what happened there? Like, where was the challenge flag? And um, a lot of times it didn't happen, or timeouts were taken for no reason. And it's not like not all the time is the offense lost where you have to burn the timeout. It's just timeouts are fucking taken. Don't know why, but yeah, they're not giving out freely like that. Um, AP can only get the Turners to be his OC. No league play caller can take a 1 year deal. That's not entirely true. I mean, elite maybe, but maybe you get somebody from the collegiate level, high collegiate level, to come over and become an OC. That is also an option, just in case. Another possibility for offensive coordinator. But Ducky, microeconomics needs another year. Genty can be the best back in the NFL in this draft. I'm not convinced as much as I like the player. I agree with that. Um, if AP says who will hire his OC, that's the question. So obviously, few names been thrown around: Ben Johnson, Bobby Sowick, uh, OC from the Packers, as well. So I said somebody from the collegiate as well. So that could be another possibility. Obviously, we don't know. Who they have as their candidates. But that would be interesting who they bring in. Obviously, the most important thing, whoever you bring in, has to have the ability and be able to set up a system to nurture a rookie quarterback and develop them. Because most likely in this draft, they will pursue a quarterback, whether it's Cam or Shador, still unknown. Obviously, we know Tom, Coupon Tom. He's not about that life, but he has a mandate now. He knows he needs to go out and get a quarterback because Big Boss Mark Davis and Tom Brady, that's what they want. And for us to be competitive in this league, that might be what we need to do because AOC, I'm sorry to say, is not going to be the one who gets us a ring. He's just not. We're always going to be kind of that mediocre team where we're 9-8, maybe 10-7. Maybe we'll have a good year, be 11-6, but not really pose a real threat in the conference. And that's literally what we have to do. We have to be a contender, and we might be competitive, but that doesn't make us always a contender. So that's the difference. But um, yeah, obviously, we talked about the candidates, but I think the other biggest subject here is: do the Raiders trade up to get Shador Camp? We are number 8, right? And maybe if we win on Sunday, we fall to, I think I've heard 15 or 16 is even a possibility, right? We don't know. But that could be the case. And if that's the case, obviously we saw the landscape change on Sunday. I haven't checked it yet. And I think I checked it 2 days ago, and it hasn't changed too much. Obviously, there's a game on I think I don't know if there's a game on tomorrow or not, but we have games this weekend, so it might change again. So, do the Raiders, if they fall uh, below or out of the top 10, I should say, should they go out and try to trade up to get Shador Camp? If they lose, they possibly get back into the top 5 and possibly landing 4th or 5th, um, being in a better position to land Shador, with Shador, mind you, um, Shador having that terrible. I'm gonna say terrible game because it was a terrible game. I kind of wanted to choose my words carefully, but it's real. It's being honest. Um, he had a pretty shitty game with BYU. BYU had his number, legit had his number, and they they pressured him, they sacked him. They had like 4 sacks on the game, and they just made him look they made him look bad. And I put out that short. That's why I said make sure you guys turn on your notifications and make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for sure, 100%. But I put out that reel, that short, excuse me, um, about does his stock go down because he had a terrible performance against BYU. Now look at his counterpart. You had Cam Ward, though Cam Ward only played 1.5. He had a way better game. Cam Ward looked dialed in on that game. Obviously they pull him because you know um, he he's going into the draft. They want to take care of him, and that's fine. That's fine. But he looked dialed in. Shador did not. Shador looked off, unfocused, shook. Though he'll never admit it, but he looked shook. And mind you, if you guys have been watching the Colorado Buffaloes, I have, they start fucking slow. They are a second half team. They like to kind of take the first half off and kind of read their defense and their offense, and then they make their moves. Mm, I don't know if that's all Shador. I don't think so, but they're a second half team, and so they do that and they mount comebacks, and that's how they win. They won um, quite a bit of the games that way. So, but in this game, BYU I think was second in their division in Big Ten or Big 12, I should say. Excuse me, and they had them dialed in. And I think now because of that performance, right? And mind you, it's just a meaningless. They say it's a meaningless bowl game. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I don't care, right? Um, it's still a bowl game. That's their playoff game. That's their little Super Bowl, right? Because after that, that's the end of their season. And so you have to take that seriously. And he didn't show up. You saw him on his social media posting the Giants cleats with the Giants logo on them, right? Saying that he knows where he's going to go get drafted, right? He was thanking God when we were losing, and he was thanking us when we're sending him cleats. Mind you, we sent him cleats saying thank you, God. Um, and so now he's over here with the Giants, right? Obviously, these are all, he markets himself really good, and he should. He should. And he's creating a market for himself. That's fine. Not mad at that. But when you need to be focused, you need to take that game seriously and really put your best foot forward. You should. You should. So um, I don't know. Um, what do you guys think about that? Do you think his stock falls? Do you think he's going to be available like a 4 or 5? Mind you, let me look at Tankathon, um, since we're talking about that specifically, and we can make a better assessment to that. And I'll show you my screen with you guys, and we'll talk about this more. Okay. All right. So we got New England at number 1, Tennessee at 2. We got Cleveland at 3, Giants at 4. So they were third. Now they're fourth. Jacksonville 5. Carolina 6. Jets at 7. And then we're 8. Right. So mind you, New England does not need a quarterback. They have Drake May. They will not pursue. They'll probably get Travis. If anything, Tennessee, it might go after a quarterback. I think they have Pickett for their guy right now, right? And Cleveland just re-signed Deshaun Watson. They restructured his ass, so they're good on a quarterback. Maybe they draft Shador, but then we know, we've heard not only I think from him, from his dad, that they'll probably request a trade if they land Cleveland, right? So that might be a more of a place for Cam if they decide to pursue a quarterback. So let's say they don't. Then you have 4, right? And then for sure we know the Giants are going to draft a quarterback. So they're going to get Cam or Shador. You got 5th. You got Jacksonville, which they're looking to go ahead and draft a receiver. They're good on Trevor Lawrence. Carolina has Bryce Young, and I don't know if they're going to part ways with him. I don't think so. And then New York probably is going to get a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's not going to stick around there anymore, right? Especially with the god awful season he has. He's 4-12 too. So, and that's funny that Devontae went from one dysfunctional team to now another, and they're in fucking shambles. And then you have us, right? So obviously, from here, you can obviously, make a deal with New England to get that number 1 seed, and obviously Giants are going to try to do the same, or Tennessee, or Cleveland. So you have to worry just about the teams that are ahead of the Giants, right? Preferably, getting number 1 will solve your problem in getting quarterback, because if you get that number 1, you're guaranteed locked to get Shador or Cam, right? Wherever you want. And that's the thing. That's the debate here. Should the Raiders trade up to that number 1, number 2, or number 3 position to get their quarterback, right? Let me know your guys' thoughts on this, but yeah, that's where we're at. We're still at 8, and obviously, if we lose on Sunday, I think we jump back into 4 or 5, somewhere within that range. We were that number 1. Us getting back to number 1, that's gone. The way it's going to go, it's by trading up. That's how we get to that place. So, yeah. Again, if you guys are watching the show and you guys are new to the show, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year to everyone on the show, watching. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Wipe your feet. Make sure you guys turn on your notifications. Like I said, I just dropped that short about Shador stock the other day, and that was a Saturday on a bowl game. We still got a few more bowl games to go, so make sure you guys turn on those notifications. Make sure you guys catch those shorts when I drop them, because not always, most of them are hilarious, but some of them are like this, where we're just shooting the shit. We're talking about real topics here on shit that impacts us as an organization. So having Shador fall, having his stock fall, not, I don't know if he actually loses that the number 1 overall pick could be, it does change shit. It does change shit. But before I go any further, I do have a special guest. I want to thank my guy here for joining me. He is my host on our Wednesday show, The Raider Connection. And I want to go ahead and make sure you guys go on his channel. Make sure you guys give him a subscribe as well. But let me go ahead and bring in my partner here, Jeff, New England Boosters. How you doing, brother?
What's up? Happy New Year, everybody. How you doing?
Good. All right. So I don't know if you were following along right now. I went over our draft order.
Yeah, I was listening.
All right.
I've had my earpiece in the whole night watching the show.
Awesome.
listening while we were playing Family Game Night upstairs.
Oh,
So
good, good. I know. I need it. I
struck
need to do
midnight. We
mine pretty
finished the
soon.
game and came down. So
All right,
back in
awesome.
my
No, that's good. I need
studio.
to do mine pretty soon. Yeah, I know they're like waiting on me. And we'll do something fun before the new year. But yeah, that is a question. Should the Raiders go out and trade up to get Cam Shador? What are your thoughts? Because I don't know if anybody knows I know your thoughts, but maybe they don't. So go ahead and share your thoughts on that.
Well, my original thoughts were based on if we finish with the number one pick. So that's out the window now. So I gotta come up with a different idea on what I really think we should do. But one of the things we definitely don't want to do is I do not agree with giving up picks to move back into the earlier picks in the draft. We need all the picks we can get. The last thing we need to do is give away draft picks to move up and get a quarterback that I think is just not even going to be the right fit for this team. We've got so many other holes to fill and positions that we need immediate help with other than a quarterback.
Yeah,
Um, we could still more than likely get a quarterback in the second round and beyond.
mhm.
Um, as far as like even, Gabriel from Oregon, I'm fine with him, to be honest with you. He's really the one I would really like to see us try and target in the second round.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, giving up draft equity to move back into the first couple of picks to get either one of those two quarterbacks. I'm not in favor of giving up anything.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
anything, I'd rather trade further back in the first round and get some extra picks and get some more bodies in here, for the off season, for training camps and OTAs, and develop more competition and depth. We need depth so bad.
Yeah,
That's why I'm a big fan of, if someone calls a call and looking for Max, I'm listening to what they're offering. I know
right.
a lot of people aren't going to like that, but if somebody offers you something that's too good to pass up, you don't pass it up. You can't
Yep.
get attached to one player. That's my feeling. When you can
Yeah.
get multiple players that can help fill those voids, you know, I don't like depending on just one player. So the more we can get, the merrier.
Yeah, for sure. What do you let's say they move to like fourth or fifth and Shador is available, would you get him?
No,
No.
I'm still not.
Who,
I'm still not sold.
who would you
You
get at four?
know,
Who would you get at 4 or 5 if you're not getting Shador?
if that if that cornerback from Michigan's there, I'm taking him in a heartbeat. I think
Mhm.
he's probably the best pure talent as far as on the defensive side, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because that's one of our weaknesses, is that wide. See, there's a lot of running backs and wide receivers in this draft, so you can get a top wide receiver later in the first round if you move back,
Mhm.
and acquire more picks, or a running back in the second and third round, and even beyond, because some of those running backs are going to last. Um, but I would definitely be shooting for a quarterback in the second round. Don't let the rest of the quarterback crop get past you in the second round. I
Oh
just
yeah.
don't think those other two are. I don't even. I think they're just by default first round picks because of you know just what they've done in college and everything. But this past weekend, I mean, Ward only plays the first half of a game,
Mhm.
and like he hit all his records, and he was like, "Yeah, that's it. I'm done. See ya."
Yeah.
That's a guy that I don't want on my team. That's just red flag right there. You know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Sanders did not have a good game last week.
He did
That
not.
bowl game,
Yeah.
he looked horrible. I mean, it was negative 36 yards. It's
Yeah.
like, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
I mean, come on. you know, it's like I don't trust either one of them, especially the fact that you're gonna you're gonna give up trade equity to move and get those guys that aren't even gonna start first season. Like year one, they're
Mhm.
not even gonna start. They're not even gonna probably touch the field. So it's like,
Yeah.
so now we just gave up even more draft picks or players even to move back into the earlier picks. for someone that's not even going to have that immediate impact. I want somebody that's going to play now, you
Right.
know, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just not going to get that with either one of them.
Yeah, because most likely whoever you get, you're gonna have to sit them for like a year
Yeah,
to kind of learn the system. And AOC is gonna be that guy they sit behind. Obviously, you heard me talking about AOC. He's having a bit of year, and that's a combination of things. Obviously, reshifting the O line and having the Turners now in there. Um, Kind of revamp that offense a bit, and that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a change, and it's been positive. We just won this past game by 15 points, which is uh, a big win,
hmm
in my opinion. So that's what we want to see. We want to see growth in the positive direction. I mean, my whole take, I've said it before. This is why you bring in Telesco. This is his job. This is what he needs to do to go ahead and build a team together for us.
yeah,
However that's going to look like, that's his job to do, right? So if he's going to trade up and do that, great. If he's going to utilize his current positions and pick smartly, then that's what he does, right? Obviously, the three top picks that he had all hit. You can't fault the guy for that. You can't,
yeah.
despite what he did in free agency, he didn't do much. But aside from Wilkins, I mean, his drafts hit. So let me go to the chat real quick because I did ask them what they thought about that. Um, but Arnie, let me go. Where's Arnie? So Arnie said Telesco will not trade up. Dark Gabriel and Howard Rourke are only options. Possibly. Yeah. Uh
Specifically, Gabriel.
yeah. Microeconomics needs another year. Genti can't be the best back in the draft. I'm not convinced as much as I like the player. Um so let's see here.
Is your mic? Oh, shit. Sorry. Oh, God damn.
Frank says this draft don't trade up, trade down for more picks. There you go. He's on your page. So
Yeah.
he wants to trade down
Oh,
for
shit.
more picks.
See,
And
just,
draft for talent, not for need.
yeah, exactly. Just getting back to the Genty thing too. The only thing I'm not crazy about Genty is that he's coming with a lot of miles on him already.
Mhm.
With the amount of times that he's carried and ran the ball at Boise, I mean, they beat the piss out of him already. So, like,
Yeah.
how much wear and tear has this kid got left on him? Because obviously the pro level is a hell of a lot different than the college level. That's why I'm a little leery on him. I still wouldn't take him in the first round.
Mhm.
Someone else will take him. He's not going to get past the Cowboys. First of all, that's got Jerry Jones written all over it.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Cowboys can have him. Then it's not going to bother me. I really don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't go to one of the other three teams in our division, because when I'm sitting here saying this about him, that if like the Chiefs pick him up, he's just going to be a superstar and just crush us every week, and I don't want to have
Yeah.
to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not solid on Genty. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a good running back. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's a great running back coming out of college, but he ain't
Yeah.
getting past the Cowboys.
I think was it the Hampton kid? The Hampton kid looks
I like
good.
that kid.
There was another guy too.
Yeah,
Better
Scadabo's not
prospect.
bad either. The kid from
Scatabo, yeah,
Arizona.
we've said that name. He looked
But
good.
these are
Yeah.
guys you can get later on too. These are guys that you
This
can
is what
get in the
guys can get
third
later on.
round. Don't forget, we got an extra pick in the third round too. We got the pick from the
Yep.
Devontae Adams trade. So
Yep.
that's a
Get an
little bit
extra
of
pick.
trade bait on the draft day too.
Yes.
Use that
Yes.
to move around a little bit more and gain some additional picks.
Yeah, and I don't
You
know
know,
if everybody remember that we have that pick from the Devontae trade that I talked about earlier.
yeah,
Because I didn't say what we got, but we did get it was a conditional second, but third, if they
yeah.
didn't go to
If
the
he would have
playoffs.
made the all,
However,
if he would have made, yeah, if he would have been selected as an All Pro, which obviously is not going to happen, and I think if the Jets made it to, was it the championship game or something, which
yeah,
I mean, come on. In reality, even before we made that trade, They weren't making that either.
I know for
Turn my
sure.
heat on over here. I'm freezing my ass off now, man.
Arnie says Shador and Campbell performance showed they are good talent, not elite. I think more about Cam. Shador, like I said, Shador is just unfocused. I talked about this with Run, and it's just there's so many distractions with him, and obviously, yeah, he's Dion's son and whatever, but you know, you just when it comes down to taking care of business, you just have to focus down. You have to do your homework. You have to get ready for these games because all eyes are on you, and everybody around the nation, all NFL scouts were at that game, and the only person he can blame for losing that number one overall pick is himself.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so caught up on that instead of worrying about playing the game, worrying about BYU. He was focused on that shit. So
Yeah, BYU is no pushover team either. I mean,
yeah.
they played hard. You know,
Yeah, Sanders is a mobile AOC. Man.
I think
Let's see.
Ducky the Butcher mentioned it too. He goes, "We should be talking about free agency before the draft." And you're absolutely right because that's what comes first.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
agency comes first, so you can start the process when you start looking at the free
Mhm.
agency, where you think your additional needs in the draft are going to be.
Yeah,
Like in free agency, we could pick up a wide receiver. Like I would love to bring in Godwin. I don't want Higgins. Too much money. I
yeah.
would
Too
love to
much
bring in
money.
Godwin. I know Rundown's a big Godwin guy, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, and I think if we bring in a running back, which I think we should, I'm still totally all in favor of Najee Harris. He's not going to be expensive. We could sign him to a 2-year deal. Right now, he's getting just about $3 million a year from Pittsburgh, and you're not going to have to break the bank for him either because it's not like he had a superstar season, and it's not because of his lack of playing well. It's the fact that their team is totally changed from what it was in the last couple of years, where it was heavy dependent on him playing so well.
Yeah,
Now that they've got a quarterback in there that can move the ball with Wilson, they haven't had to lean on Najee Harris. Plus, you get Jalen Warren there too. So,
mhm.
you know, Najee Harris would be a great addition. You bring
Yeah,
in a rookie for him to groom behind Najee. You got McCormick, you know, uh, and if you want to keep a veteran presence in the backfield, you keep Abdullah, I guess,
yeah,
and just let everyone else go. I would keep Lobby, you know.
yeah. You keep Lobby. You keep Abdullah. Like I said, Madison. He's an RB2 guy. That's where he feels more comfortable. But that's not really what we
What's up,
need.
AR?
So
Yeah.
yeah. Arnie says, based on the talent, Travis Hunter is the next Woodson. Hashtag number 24.
I mean that's a pretty high classification in my eyes. I
Yeah,
mean, he's good, you know, but Woodson was Woodson.
yeah.
I've yet to see anybody come out of college. Closest what I would say would probably be like Sauce Gardner, as
Hmm.
far as like a pure, you know, talent in the secondary. Um,
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, Travis is a dual threat in a way, but it's something about. I was high on him at the beginning. A few
hmm.
weeks ago, I was really into him, but more and more shit's coming out about him now too. So, and that's the other thing. You're going to start seeing a lot more teams doing, some further investigations on some of these players that are going to be
Oh
coming
yeah,
off from college, because now's the season's over. So now they can really dig into these kids and see,
what
what
they
type of
do in the off
baggage some of
season.
these kids have. Yeah, it's a lot of shit's going to come out, I'm sure, that's
Yeah,
going to, turn a lot of teams off on players.
yeah. That stuff matters. That stuff matters because,
Of course
like
it
I
does.
said, that's my argument. Is just that because it raises a question. Like Shador had that bad performance last week, so can he perform in big games type situations? Right? What if we do draft him and we're playing for a playoff position, right, to a playoff berth? Is he able to go ahead and get us into that? Or if we're playing in a playoff game to buy into the AFC Championship game, is he able to perform under the situations? Can he come focused? These are important questions, where you cannot not ask that, no matter how much you like the guy. I love the guy. I like the guy a lot, but I'm still going to ask those questions because it's relevant. And if this is the type of performance that we're going to see, it's going to make me rethink this whole, whether or not we should get Shador. Um, so those are the questions you have to ask. But really quick, salute to Rafa. What's good,
Rafa?
brother? Thank you for being on the show. Happy New Year to you. Arnie says New England Raiders is the OG of the Raider Nation. Speak knowledge. Yes, sir.
That's what the great hair brings, right?
Salute to Raider Paul. Happy New Year to you, brother. Drew Alar, better watch out. Yeah, he's gonna be on for another year in college. So that's even a better time for him to to get better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's somebody we go after later. Just because let's say we get a quarterback this year, doesn't stop us from getting a quarterback next year or the year after that. If there's a good candidate or that teams pass up, why not? Right. AR, salute to you, brother. Appreciate you being on. Let's see. Ducky, how would y'all feel if we traded Tyreek Hill? If it's not a first or second, I'm okay with it.
I mean, if they'll let him go for, like, say, the third rounder we got for a Devontae, bring it.
Yeah.
What do you get to lose? It's a pick we didn't have to begin with. I know I'm sitting here saying we need all the draft picks we can get, but it's a pick we didn't have, until we make that trade. So it's a free move,
Yeah, it's like trading Devontae for Tyreek in a sense. That's kind of how you could kind of put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank said, Ducky, receivers come at the end, get the QB, and line settled first. I agree with you, Frank, on the QB part. Definitely, you still need to address the O line. You can't not address it. I don't think you address it right away because that's something you can get in the third, fourth round.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's
when did we get Glaze? I think we got Glaze on the third round, right?
Yeah. Unless they come out with, again, it also depends on the combine now too, because these kids their draft stock will go up or down depending on how they do with the draft, at the combine. So if some offensive lineman's stock just starts skyrocketing, and he's a guard, because that's what we really need is a guard, unless there's a next coming of, Gene Upshaw out there for a tackle, then by all means, then yeah, we go for that because that's obviously one of our things in need. But again, that's also something we can address in free agency too. I mean, there's some decent offensive linemen out there, veterans that will definitely help.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, the free agency is going to be our friend because of the amount of money we've got.
Yeah.
And then plus whoever we're going to get rid of too.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up free agency because that's literally the next topic is free agency and re-sign / contract extensions. And I know we had talked about it in the Raider Connection on who we should keep and who we should go. And we just talked about Godwin, possibly bringing him on in free agency this offseason. So who do you think we bring in free agency? Who would you like to keep? Who would you like to let go?
Well, as far as the ones bringing in, like I've already said, Godwin and definitely not Najee Harris. And then who's the offensive lineman from KC? Shit.
Oh man, yeah, we said it.
I got it here. I can look it up in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Offensive.
As far as who we keep defensively, Chase on. You resign Chase on Spillane is going to be part of that group. You keep Polamalu, Morig. Talked on that earlier. And I mean, Hobbs, if he's cheap. Kuntz, same thing. If he's cheap, if not, we can part ways with him. Obviously, there's some guys that we're gonna let go. Snowden, I don't think he's gonna stick around.
Mm.
He should be cut. I don't know why he. I think we just have him on as a body because we can't afford to let him go. But he goes. A couple other guys go. Parham might be a guy that we let go
Oh,
offensively, right? James
yeah.
might be a guy that we
To
let
let him
go.
go weeks ago.
Yeah, White might be a guy that we let go for sure, and then Madison might be a guy that we let go. Obviously, everybody else who's in that receiver, aside from Tucker and Myers, are going to stay on. Everybody else is most likely going to go, or they're going to go back to practice squad, or if they stay on with the Raiders. But yeah, Godwin's going to be an option. I think we need to get the other part of that receiver equation from the draft. I said McMillan. I like that guy Trey Harris from
Yeah, he's
Ole
good too. I
Miss.
like him too.
Yeah, he has height. We need somebody who's tall. That's what
Yeah.
it is. We need somebody over
Well, I mean,
6
you've got
foot.
Jacoby Myers, but Jacoby will move back to the number 2 spot.
Yeah,
Jacoby's been default number 1 because DA was gone. As long as he was there, he was the number 2. But then once DA was gone, by default, Jacoby became our number 1 wide receiver. You
right.
know,
Yeah,
but it's like,
but
yeah, we need a bona fide number 1, and we're gonna get that in the draft. We're gonna have to at
we're
this
gonna have
point.
to.
You know, yeah, Higgins could be that, but again, he's gonna be expensive, and he's got an injury issue. He's got a history with injuries. And again, I don't want to be spending $30 million or $25 million a year on a wide receiver. No way. No way. We've got too many other needs that we can put that money towards. I know
Yeah.
somebody said to cut Uncle Rico. I agree, but I don't know what type of impact that has as far as how much money
We
is
might just have to
guaranteed on
eat.
that.
We might have to just eat that money. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't know. First off, he played terribly, and then two, the injuries on his throwing arm. So we don't know how he's gonna rehab from that. If he's gonna be worse, if there's even a possibility of him being worse than what he
yeah,
already is. So I think you just have to part ways from him. That's the only logical recourse at this point.
yeah.
You just part ways from him, and then you'll draft, or you get somebody from free agency like Fields is going to be available, but then you already have AOC. Darnold has been that name has been thrown around as well. Nick Chubb's that might be a possibility from Cleveland. He decides to go ahead and part ways from
Yeah, see,
Cleveland.
I'm not big on him
Uh,
either
yeah,
because of his. I mean, and his injuries are even worse.
yeah.
His aren't
So
like a bad ankle or hamstring history. I mean, we're talking about knees. You
yeah,
know, whereas you don't have that with Najee Harris. He doesn't have any major you know knee injuries. Whereas Chubb is. I mean, he missed what most of last season or
yeah.
this season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Obviously, I want to hear from the chat. My guy, hold on. Oh, salute really quick, Joshua. Appreciate you for being on. Happy New Year's. Arnie says both guard spots need to be upgraded in the draft for free agency. Both for sure. Frank, I don't know why Frank, serious look at Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones doesn't want to come here, and we don't want Daniel Jones. So no. Arnie says we need to cut Uncle Rico, not Zeus, and push back Andre James. I think you cut Zeus. You gotta cut him. He's one dimensional. We've seen that. He just runs into blocks and he just runs forward. He doesn't have vision. We have McCormick. They're night and day, as you saw. So
Yeah,
the performance speaks in itself. Um, T Higgins, yes, T Higgins will be available, but he'll come with the high price tag for sure. So I don't know if he'll be worth it to spend all that money that we have on one guy like that. So, like we said, Godwin's another option for us. If we can get Godwin cheap, I love that. Same here. Frank says, I know the potential is a 4-letter word, but Jones has a lot of untapped potential and talent. Yeah, but he doesn't want to come play here. That's the thing.
which is
We
fine
had
with me.
Yeah, and then I didn't like him. He
That's why as
hasn't.
soon as he was cut by the Giants, a lot of fans,
Yeah,
we need to bring him in. Absolutely not.
no,
No,
he
why?
didn't do
We
anything
don't
in
need
New
him.
York in his time there. No, I
No,
said,
he had
yeah,
one
that would be
decent season, and they broke the bank for that guy. I don't know what the hell they were thinking by giving him that contract. And then you let a guy like Saquon walk, and you don't try and offer him that money. You offer it to a quarterback that no one in their right mind would have offered. I don't know what they saw in him.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I don't know
he
either.
must have some dirt on somebody in New York and on the Giant
Probably.
organization to get that kind of a contract. I
Fucking
just don't get it.
DeVito looked better. Tommy
Yeah.
DeVito, Tommy fucking Cutlets looked better than that guy. You know, Tommy fucking
DeVito.
Cutlets, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jones needs to stick to professional cornhole. Oh man. Artist says Jalen Higgins. I did see that guy. I'm mad at that guy.
Yeah, I'm not
If we
familiar with
draft him,
him.
he'd be all right. I like him. Jones is affordable. Vikings signing Darnold to max contract.
That I can see.
Yeah.
That I can definitely see. Because here's the thing. He's done at the end of this year. They only signed him to a short contract.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a rookie with McCarthy, which technically he's still going to be a rookie next year because he was on IR the whole season. Like he was, unable to play at all, So he really never even had a rookie season. So if he plays next year, that's his true rookie season. So are you going to entrust the team with him after what they've shown this year they can do with the potential they could repeat the same thing? Because they've got a legit shot next week to finish with the number 1 seed. They very well could go into Detroit and beat Detroit next week. I would not be surprised. That game is going to be a tough one to pick who's going to win that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game.
I'm giving Detroit the upper hand because they're playing at home. But Minnesota, man, that is one hell of a team this year. They shocked me. I didn't expect them to do that. I didn't expect Donald to have the season he's having.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, if I'm the GM and the owner of Minnesota, if I'm the owner of the Vikings, I'm saying to my GM, you need to get this kid to stay under contract because O'Connell loves him, the head coach. It's obvious. It's unfortunate for McCarthy that he's going to have to take a step back for a little bit until Sam Darnold really starts to screw up, but he's in a system that works for him and it shows, so people talking about bringing Sam Darnold here, he's not going to leave Minnesota with a chance where he could be playing in the Super Bowl this year and possibly next year to come play for us. And we may or may not win some games. We may be competitive. We may not, so it's like, fuck, what do you do? If I'm him, I wouldn't be going anywhere.
Oh yeah. Ducky says Chubb could have a comeback player of the year type season 25.
Yeah, with someone else. So.
Yeah, that's if he's healthy. So we'll see.
You can go to New England.
Please no Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, please no Aaron Rodgers next year. He's washed.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that one either.
And his drama. He can stay with his BFF forever, or Tay Adams. So whatever.
Yeah, I just saw that comment, and I've heard that too. That he wants out of the Jets, and I've heard rumors too of him possibly coming, or seriously, we should look at him, and I would, without a doubt, look at grabbing him in free agency if he wants out. I would take that kid in a heartbeat. That's an immediate upgrade.
Who? Garrett?
Garrett Wilson? Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's somebody definitely we can go ahead and take a look. For sure.
Yeah, LV rated 10. We know you want Dart. This fucking guy with Dart.
Salute to you, brother.
I don't think he knows any other quarterback that's in the draft except for Jackson Dart. That's the only name I've ever heard him say.
No, we talked about Dylan Gabriel. We did talk about Dylan Gabriel.
Who, him?
He like a lot of yes.
He might say Dylan Gabriel, but then he's sitting there saying Jackson Dart. He's throwing Dart out again.
It's because it's just a height thing. And
Yeah.
there were actually I caught Cheetos and Run's show earlier. You know, they compared Dylan to Wilson, to the same height, stature, the way they throw the ball. It's very similar. So I don't know. It could that might be a diamond in the rough. I think just because you know you're not 6 feet tall doesn't necessarily count you out. So yeah, no, those are either gunshots or fireworks in the background. I live by a hill out here in Albuquerque, so but that's fireworks. So you'll hear that in the background. Everybody's getting ready for that New Year.
Gunfire.
Oh no, they go shoot in the hill, man. They get crazy. I just hear shots or machine guns going off. I don't know. Salute to Mike Rain. Thank you for being on. Make sure you like and subscribe. How about Howard from Ohio State? I don't know. Says Notre Dame's QB is getting drafted. Going to be a bunch of QBs drafted this year.
Is he coming out this year? I thought he was staying another year.
I think he was staying. No, we would have heard
Besides,
if he was
I know
coming out.
Leo said that we don't want him either.
Uh,
I know Leo's doesn't want him, or at
Yeah.
least that was a few weeks ago. I don't know if his thoughts have changed since then.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's who we re-sign. As far as defensively, offensively, for me, I don't know. What do you think? Defensive and offensively, who would you resign, extend? Obviously, I forgot to add, I would restructure Maxx. I would extend Maxx, to be honest with you. I would want him here as a Raider, but if you're not going to extend him, restructure him and give him his guaranteed. At least do that for him. The guy, no matter what you say, whether you trade him or not, the guy's a workhorse, and he deserves to get paid for sure. But what do you think?
Again, I'm still fielding phone calls. To be honest with you,
But you don't restructure him. You don't give him his guarantee.
not yet, not yet. I would wait until after the draft. If he's still with us, then do it. I wouldn't do it beforehand.
Okay, so you want to wait the last possible
because
moment.
that'll make it even. Well, that's the problem, though. That'll make it even tougher to try and, if someone comes calling, they'd have to really, really be willing to pay whatever it is we just set up for his contract. Unless they can renegotiate with him. And that might be a bargaining chip for him too. If a team comes calling that he's aware of, where he might not nix it, or he might sit there and say, "Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you guys trade me here or you trade me there." I'm not saying to actively try and push for him to get rid of him. I'm just saying he's too valuable for what we're going to get in return to not listen to any office on him. I am not against trading him if somebody offers us 2 first-round picks, a first-round pick this year and a first-round pick next year. Guess what? Max, has been fun for the last few years, buddy. Hopefully you can get a good deal with them. And if you're there for 4 or 5 years, when your time's up, by then we might be ready to win a Super Bowl. Come on back. We'd love to have you in for that run. And you can stay with us, retire as a Raider, and get some wins, some Super Bowls with us, possibly. That would be the perfect ending to a fairy tale story. But in the meantime, we're turning those picks that we get for him into something that helps us produce, a steady winning team. I don't want to build a team for one season, win it all, and all of a sudden we got to get rid of everybody because we can't afford everybody anymore.
Right. Yeah. That's happened before.
And that's what scares me.
There's other teams. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what scares me when we have this much money in salary cap is if the upper brass, including Telesco, isn't smart in who they bring in and how much they pay these people, we could get caught in a bind in another couple of years where we have to let too many good players go because we can't afford to keep them because of the dumbass contracts we worked. And that was one of Al's problems with some of the contracts he's worked in the past years. he backloaded some of these contracts, where he paid them a little bit up front, but then it was like their their third and fourth years where they were going to make a shit ton of money. All of a sudden, we can't afford to keep them, so now we got to get rid of them. So those contracts always end up to come back to bite you in the ass. And I don't want to see us get into that, stuck in that rut.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Tom's a little bit of a smarter cookie in that
Oh, he's a
department.
penny pincher, which is fine with me.
Oh yeah. Though
You
I don't know about this Minshew contract, but other than that,
Yeah,
I mean, normally he's pretty on it.
I really
So
don't
I'm
think
not
that
too
was
worried
him,
about
though. I really don't think that was mostly him.
that.
I really seriously think that Mark Davis had a heavy hand in that one.
He just wanted to get his guy, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why he started too. I know people sitting there saying, "Oh no, well because the first 4 games of the season was like a gauntlet because of the 4 teams we were playing." I don't think it should matter who you start if it was
Yeah.
AOC or him. Either one of them probably would have put up the same numbers. I mean, we played against 4 real good teams right off the get go.
Yeah.
We beat one of those really good teams in Baltimore.
Oh yeah. Like I said, if we started AOC from the beginning, we would have won a couple more games. 3 or 4 more games, maybe.
I think the team would have had more confidence too.
Yeah, that would have been the jive would have been better. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, that's in retrospect, we could say that, and it is what it is. But really quick, going back to the chat, Max Frank says Max is probably gonna get Max is probably trade bait. Maybe, yeah, maybe we've like Jeff says, we take those calls and see what happens, right? Price has to be right for Crosby. I don't know, man. I like what Jeff says. If we're not gonna trade him, or if we're not getting a draft picks, or draft picks plus cap, then we resign him no matter what. We extend him or we restructure him, get him his money. He's worth it for sure. Let's see here. Frank's. I hope we get a franchise quarterback before Brock Bowers' rookie contract expires. Salute Miklo. If Paul is gonna pan out that way, well, we're hoping, right? We don't know for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we're
want a
going to get
franchise quarterback. Now will it always happen?
Just don't
right?
expect it this year. More than likely,
No.
we're going to have to, which I am all for. But AOC 12 is going to be our quarterback going into next year. There's just no two ways about it. No matter who we draft.
No matter who we draft,
absolutely. No matter who we draft, AOC 12 will be our quarterback next year.
It's been said already.
And
so,
if we don't get a quarterback,
he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, if we don't get a quarterback that pans out this year in the draft, that by the end of the season and practice and getting into games where we're, either being blown out or blowing someone out, and we see that this rookie's not going to make it, then guess what? Then we're waiting until the 2026 draft before we try and get another quarterback. Unless we somehow make a trade somewhere or pick someone up in free agency that just ends up being the right fit for us in our system. It's a crapshoot, just like the draft. The draft is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You don't know, especially a quarterback especially. You can take a couple of years for a defensive player to work out or an offensive lineman to work out, and they'll be wonderful. Quarterbacks, man, they either got it or they don't. Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking,
you gotta grow them like little
got some
plants.
thunder booms going on out there right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just shook my whole house. It's hailing. I can hear it coming down the chimney.
Oh shit!
It's either that or a bunch of little midgets running down my chimney with Santa Claus again.
I know.
It's freaking hail and thunder and lightning out there.
Yeah, but
I am going to sign off because if we're getting thunder and lightning, there's a good chance I'm probably going to lose power. I am on
Oh,
battery
sure.
backup through the solar panels, but
Uh-huh.
it won't be enough to keep everything up and running. So
Oh, well,
I am going
I
to
was
sign
about to
off.
I was gonna go into my final topic here, and then I was gonna sign
I'll
off
go
because
for it.
I'm getting
Go
ready to
for it.
celebrate the new year here. All right, so a question. I mean, to talk about the new year. Do the Raiders find success next year in 2025? What do you think?
Yeah, it'll be limited success. Don't as Raider fans, I would just say don't get your expectations too high. No matter who we pick. If for some weird freaking reason we end up with Ward or Sanders, uh, don't expect us to win 10 games and oh my God, we're talking playoffs. It's an anomaly that happens where a team goes from being, you know, like we are with 4 or 5 wins, and next thing you know, next year they're in the playoff hunt. You know,
Yeah,
my, for me to find success, it's how we do in the division. I don't care about the conference. I don't care about the rest of the NFL. It's how we do with the 3 teams in our division. That's what it comes down to. If we can at least break even and go 3-3 within our division next year, that alone to me shows progress because you got
yep,
3 outstanding head coaches in this division now. You got 3 good quarterbacks, one of them, albeit as a rookie, but you've got 3 extremely. This is a tough division again. This division
mhm,
in the last couple of years all of a sudden became again the toughest division in the NFL, just like it was years ago when we were on top. You know, it's now that same situation again. Our success
yep,
has to start within our own division. It can't start with beating teams on the AFC West, East, or the NFC West. It's within our division. If we
yeah,
can win 3 games and split 3-3, I will be extremely happy because that means nobody's got us like on a 10-game winning streak, 5 games, 7 game. We,
mhm,
we've we've ended any of those streaks at that point,
yeah,
which gives you hope and gives your team confidence. That's the biggest thing this team needs. Anybody that's going to be a holdover from the current roster that's going to be with us in 2025, that's a confidence booster. That makes you feel good right there as a player on the team that there's hope. It's coming. We've got a high draft pick. We've got multiple picks. That's how we find that success starts in our division.
yep. Agree.
Everything else will just slowly fall in place. We'll beat the shitty teams that we're supposed to beat. It's just the 3 teams in our division. I want to beat them all at least once next year.
Me too.
I don't want to
Me
get
too.
shut out again.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
disgusting.
Nope. Nope.
That
I
pisses me
mean,
off more than anything.
yeah, shit. I mean, we talked about it before, and I talked about it earlier. We almost beat Kansas City twice. We came really close. Who would have thought it? This team, the way we've been performing, to come that close to beating Kansas City, we came within 2 points. Black Friday. That's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. We literally, if that call wasn't blown, if we had another shot, we would have won that game. We would have won that game. So,
Yeah, we finished 0-6 in our own division. We could have at least won 2 of those games this year, and both of them to Kansas City.
yep.
We should have beat them both games.
Should beat them both. Now they think twice when we come into Kansas City because they know now that we can fuck around and win anytime. Same thing in
Oh yeah.
Vegas. We can win anytime in Vegas. Just shit. We lost by a touchdown. That was
Yep.
it. I mean, normally teams lose to like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So for us to do that good is a really good thing. I think it's like I agree with you. I think we find success, limited success. I don't think we make the playoffs even if we draft Shador Cam or any quarterback because I still feel that that's the direction we need to go in. They're probably going to sit out either half of that season or all the season next year. And so Blair is going to be AOC's team, and it's going to either make or break. But I think he's going to do good. So long as whatever OC that we put in place obviously has to cater to both quarterbacks, not just
Hmm.
the draft pick, not just the prospect. Has to do for both, right? Because we're setting up a system for the future. So I think so long as we have stability there and a system that that AOC can understand and run, I think it would work out. I think we become competitive in the AFC West. I think we can split those games, one apiece with each one. I think we can steal a few games as well. I think the schedule came out earlier, and looks like I think I saw that we play the Cowboys, we play the Giants. I forgot who else. I sent it to my
Was
buddy
it the
because
Giants home or away though? Please be a home game.
Man, I lost it.
I hope
I
it's not
think
an away
they
game.
are. Oh, here it is. Okay. Giants are at home.
Thank God.
We played Dallas at home, Tennessee at home. We go to Philly. We go to Washington.
You come here too.
Yeah. Who else? We play Indy, but we go to Indy. We play Jacksonville again next year. I think we play Tennessee.
Yeah, the Jacksonville game should be in Jacksonville, I think, right? Oh no,
This is versus Jacksonville, so I guess they come here again.
So it'll be at home.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, Cowboys it's a big game. I know we beat them that Thanksgiving a few years ago.
Actually, it looks like for the next 2 years we're going to be coming to New England, so it'll be this year and next year. It'll be the 2020. Yeah, well, now it is 2025 starting now. That's right. You're still in yesterday.
After yesterday, 2024.
I've been January 1st now for the last hour and 19 minutes. So
I know. About 40 minutes. I get to be 20.
I'll see you all next year.
I'll see
literally for most of you.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we do have limited success. I think we go maybe 10-7, 9-8. That's kind of the season how it's going to pan out. It's so
10-7. You think we're going to go 10-7?
Wait, you have no faith in your quarterback, AOC?
I have faith, but good God, dude, really?
Yeah. If you beef up, if you get a solid running back and beef up the O line, and you draft that receiver, yes, you can do it. And especially with this schedule, because you get an easier schedule. This is an easier schedule than we had this year. Aside from Washington.
Oh yeah, Washington.
And Philly. That's it. Other than that, everybody else is pretty easy.
Do it this way: cut that in half. So when they do finish 10-7, you at least feel good. It's like, wow, they did better than I thought they would. Okay. Now, what if you just take it?
All right, let's do 7-10. All right,
if we only get 5 wins, you're going to be like, fuck, we suck.
All right,
whereas if you say, I'm going to give them, if you say, all right, we're going to go 5-12. Yeah, we're going to go 5-12, and all of a sudden we blow up and get 10 wins. You're like, wow, they did better than I thought, and you're going to be happy. You know, if you so overexceed, you might as well just say we're going to be 17-0 at that point. You know, it's like, fuck, 10 wins.
No, but we might be 12. We might be 5-12 this weekend. We might end the season on a high note. So we got to do better.
Well, we ended last season on a high note. Look how this year started.
I know, but you got to do better. You always got to try to better yourself. So I'll say 7-10. I'll flip the script. I'll flip the numbers.
I could go with 7. But me personally, I'm going 5 wins. I'm taking the 5 wins, and 3 of those are coming from within our division, and I'm already happy.
Yeah, there you
go. And if we get more than 5, it's even better.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure.
This is just the old school in me, just getting let down year after year for the last 20 years.
No, I understand. Definitely, 100%.
Thanks, Miklo.
Miklo, yeah, respect to the OG. I love hearing his knowledge on the Raiders. See, there you go. But yeah, Arnie, 2025 temp job, Minshew, Scott Turner, AP.
Oh, good God. I couldn't take another year.
Archie Manning, come on, man, no.
No,
I can't relive this
couldn't take another year of this.
No, that's too much. No, stop it.
No,
stop it. But yeah,
I look at it this way. For me, it hits double hard for me when we're this bad, because not only does it affect like us, like doing what we're doing, you know, always having to talk about how bad we are and how miserable we are.
Yeah.
And then for me on my end of it, being the president of the Booster Club, it makes my job being the president of the club even more tough or more difficult, because the amount of members that show up every week is, and I've said this for years, the success of our club is totally dependent on the product that gets put on the field. So if the team looks like shit and they play shitty every week, less and less people show up for functions, and it's tough to get people engaged for it. So now I'm having to find new ways to get members engaged to stay with the club and to keep coming to these functions. So what benefits the club is when we're doing good and we show progress, so people show up and they want to be there together to watch the games. Like for me, I don't care if we only win one game in a season. I'm still going to be there every week at the bar, waiting for members to show up, whether they show up or not. So from a club aspect, I want us to be 10-7 for the club purpose, because now I've got happy club members, staying for the whole game, being excited. Whereas now, when we play like crap, now the last couple of weeks have been great because we won,
Yeah.
but when we play like crap, it's like you just pan around the room and look, and everybody's sitting there like this watching the game.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
There's no light, and you can only clap for so many first downs. Which, first of all, we don't get them on a regular basis anyway.
No, we don't.
But I couldn't do another. I swear to God, if it's another season like we just had this year, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go fucking insane.
Yeah,
I'll go
me
crazy.
too. I am. I will. I'll be
You're
like,
gonna
what
see a
the fuck
different
is
me on here doing shows. I'm gonna become like pissed off Jeff.
it?
I'm gonna be a miserable son of a bitch.
I know.
I'm a big dude. You don't want me miserable.
Same. Yeah, I just hope we have a better season than this next year.
Yeah.
This is my final thought. I hope that we have a better season than next year. I hope that we can get past all this tanking bullshit. We just need to have a good draft, and I think we get past it, and we can move on to the real important things, and that's Raiders football winning, going and building our future. Right, that commitment to excellence, and that starts by building your future. And it doesn't happen overnight, guys. It doesn't. You have to build it. It's like a foundation. You put bricks together, but you address the things that you need, and you take care of it. Right. So we all have different opinions, different sides of the spectrum on different topics, on different issues, and we just gotta respect it. That's it. Me and Jeff have different opinions on certain things, and then we align on certain things. But I don't hate on Jeff, and Jeff doesn't. Hope Jeff doesn't hate on me. But
No, I would
like to see. I would like to see
you're not 10 wins, but that's okay.
A more together Raider Nation this next coming year, and not be so fucking divided. Because shit, we're fucking toxic at times, and we're so quick to divide ourselves. And,
all I can say is wait till next Monday, January 6th.
Yep.
That's when everything starts.
Yep.
Black Monday.
I'm ready for it. I'm waiting to see what happens, because there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. A lot of them will on next Monday.
Any shows next week are going to be fire shows. I mean, it's going to be.
Yep.
I mean, it could be quiet shows too, because nothing could have
come
changed.
Out guns blazing.
Yeah, AP could be staying, and it's no issues. If AP gets let go on Monday, then guess what? Now starts all the other new talk about who's going to replace him. That's another whole 5-hour show right there.
Yep.
But I am going to take off. So everybody out there, have a happy New Year. Jay, thanks for having me on.
Yes,
this
sir.
Been fun. Been listening to your show all
right
night,
now.
So you've done a great job tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome
Appreciate
job.
that, brother.
I
appreciate you. Yes, sir. Thank you. And make sure
Later,
you guys. Thank you. Later. Have a happy New Year. Make sure you guys go on this channel, give them subscribe. That's NE _Raiders Boosters on YouTube. So make sure you guys jump on this channel, give them a follow. Go ahead and give them a subscribe. Turn on your notifications for them. They do their he does a podcast with LB Rated 10 every Thursday. Coast to coast, Raiders coast to coast. So make sure you guys tap into that. So we haven't done it in a couple weeks because of the Raider connection. We had to push that show, but they should be getting back onto the regular schedule starting next month. So make sure you guys tap into that. But like I said, that's my final thoughts on this. I want to thank everybody for watching on the show and spending this New Year's Eve the Raider way with good old Jay Raider here. And as always, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for me. Wipe your feet. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Keep supporting the show. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to 100 subscribers, so make sure you guys tap in and do that. And as always, social media. Make sure you guys catch me on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and X. JRaider_505. That's JRaider_505. Make sure you guys follow me on that, especially that JRaider account. I'll be posting a lot of shit on there. So make sure you guys tap into it. Sometimes some things don't correlate to one another. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to everything. So that way you guys don't miss out on a lot of great content, and a lot of great content will be coming up in this next year, 2025. I'm so excited for that. We're still going to be doing the shows, still a lot to talk about. We just barely scraped the surface on a lot of topics: the draft, free agency, offensive coordinator. That's for sure going to happen. We just don't know who. Most likely the Turners are going to be on the way out. AP, is he going to stay or go? And if he goes, who's going to come in to replace him? And so the whole Maxx starting to be kind of a debacle thing, whether we're going to restructure him, are we going to trade him, or we're going to extend him, all that. So there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming this offseason, guys. It's going to be hot. Don't miss out. Just because the season's over doesn't mean we're over. All right. So make sure you guys keep tapping in. Make sure you guys keep subscribing for that. Be on the lookout for the shows. Looks like I'm probably going to be switching to Saturday mornings. The Saturday morning I had a show, did really well. I'm probably going to continue on that trend. Not a lot of people on that time slot, so I might be taking that time slot. So again, make sure you guys are tapping in and turning on notifications for that. But again, thank you guys for being on this New Year's Eve special. Just Raiders Baby Live, episode 14. Thank you guys again. I want to wish everyone out there a happy new year. And if you're out drinking, make sure you guys don't drive. Call an Uber, call a friend, spend the night. There's many ways to get home. Be safe out there. It's definitely not worth it. I know that from firsthand. So make sure you guys take care of yourselves and each other. I appreciate you guys so much. And here's to a great Raiders 2025. Thank you guys. Have a happy new year. Peace.